Vampire War for the Second City is a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition actual play podcast presented by DM Fiat, with I, Dale, as storyteller. Please be advised that this podcast contains descriptions of gore, depravity, addiction, coercion, and other adult themes. This is not D&D. This is a game where we play monsters of the night who do monstrous things. They're all around you. Welcome, everybody, to another session of Vampire the War for the Second City. We're about to enter the meat and potatoes of the campaign, where things really start going wrong or right, depending on where your loyalties lie. Today's episode is entitled Lose My Number. It is part 1 of Auld, Sanguine, our next story, a New Year's Eve story.
Now I'm glad I didn't download that.
Yeah, well, I've heavily altered it, but still, it does have the skeleton of the written module, which is how I tend to run my games. So, we'll start by covering the downtime, as it's been 2 months since our last session in-game, and although Squizzy has tasked you all with uncovering any info you can on Patrick or his possible allies, which hasn't left you with a lot of time to follow your own pursuits, you have had a couple of nights here and there where you've been able to deal with your own goals and objectives and do a little bit of extra work on the side in addition to the menial tasks that Squizzy continues to have you perform in the interests of upholding the masquerade, the facade of normality. We managed to get most of Hope's downtime stuff done in the pizza party session, but I believe, Hope, there was another thing you wished to do.
Well, there were 2 more things, actually.
Yes, go ahead.
So, Sylvia needs her takeaway box.
He does.
And I need to talk to Dusty to get him on board for the Patrick Stomp.
Yep, so shall we do Dusty first?
Sure.
So, Dusty has... Well, like Desmond, he's dropped off the radar since the time of your embrace. Not as fully as Desmond, who seems to have completely disappeared using his skills as a Nosferatu to become completely uncontactable to any kindred that he doesn't want to associate with. Dusty still maintains his online persona, the clear Dusty. His YouTube videos aren't as regular as they once were. He used to upload at least once a week. Now, the channel puts out a new video maybe once every couple of months. And the setup of his videos has changed. Whereas he used to film his videos in a brightly lit studio, occasionally having other guests come in to help him riff on whatever bizarre conspiracy theory he was covering that week. Now his videos seem to be filmed in near total darkness. The only thing on the screen is his face framed against a pitch black background, occasionally lit with very dim background lighting, almost as if he's in a shipping container or deep in someone's basement. His face is shrouded in shadow, and when you can see it, he seems a lot more pale and sickly than he was when he used to make his videos on the regular. Of course, you know that this is because of his current condition as a member of the Kindred, but you notice on every new video he makes there's always a string of comments from his supporters wishing him well and occasionally mentioning that they've noticed that he's started to look and sound a lot more sickly and less energetic than he used to be, and many of his fans constantly send him well wishes of concern. Aside from this, you have no idea how to contact him. You know that he seems to have set up with some of the local ministry, which means he's well entrenched in the Anarch movement at this point, and you've noticed that some of his videos seem to be nothing more than repackaged Anarch propaganda, dressed up so that the concepts of the Anarch movement can be imparted to mortals, perhaps priming them to be future recruits of the Anarchs, or just easier vessels to hunt. So, Hope, I would like you to please go ahead and make for me a charisma or manipulation plus streetwise check, and you may add an extra dice to represent Sage if you do bring your Mauler into this.
Definitely. 5 dice. Let's see. VR 5. Current hunger.
Well, you'll be starting this session at, I believe, 3 hunger, because we'll go 1 plus the 2 you gained, so put 3.
I got 1 success.
1 success.
And hopefully if I put word out that I'm looking to talk with them, word will reach out.
So you tell Sage that you're looking to speak to a member of the ministry, one Setite in particular, the one who you woke up with in the meat locker. And she just says, "Oh yeah, I remember him. YouTube guy, the Clear Dusty, I think. Yeah. Well, Look, he hasn't been to any rants or anything. From what I gather, Ministry's got him to work essentially as their propaganda piece. He's their mouthpiece, spreading Setite propaganda over the internet, and from what I hear, quite a few new vessels have come into their fold since he started with them. They don't seem to let him out of the ministry a lot, but I think I might be able to pull some favours." And so, one night, about a week after she tells you this, you're just seated in your haven, and you're looking around, leaning into the back of your sofa, and you're just breathing a sigh of relief. It's a couple hours after the pizza party. You've seen Derek and the Thin Bloods out, and you've managed to just finish cleaning up the mess that Slick made. And it's a couple hours from dawn. And you're just enjoying this moment of tranquility, when suddenly your phone begins to loudly vibrate, pulling you out of your reverie. an unknown number flashing on the screen.
Yellow?
There's silence for a bit, and then a deep, gravelly voice on the other end says, "Yeah, this is Hope. Long time no see. This is Dusty."
You sound like you got something in your throat, man.
Yeah, he says. Look, part of the new persona. I gotta act tougher, more weathered. Tell the audience I've been through some shit, and, well, it seems to have stuck.
Insight. Does this actually sound like Dusty?
Go ahead and make a intelligence or wits plus insight check.
I'll go wits. Wits is better. 4 successes.
4 successes. It's been a long time since you've spoken to Dusty, and at this point you can barely remember what his voice sounds like, but this is not how you remembered it.
Alright. Well, man, there's something kind of important we should probably talk about. I'd like to meet. Where should I meet you?
Yeah, meeting. Right, well, Ministry's got me on a tight leash. Basically handling all of their recruitment, working internally, you know the deal. Derek's gonna be much the same. Tremere guy like him. How's this?
Yeah.
He reads off an address for you, and you quickly look it up, and it seems to be a little picnic spot, a little park between a cafe and a bookstore in the middle of Footscray. It's not the type of area you'd normally go, but it is right in the middle of Anarch territory, and specifically right in the part of town where the Ministry seem to have set up.
Alright. I can do that. Let's do that tomorrow night, huh?
Got it, he says. And then he hangs up. Yep.
Set a time and poof. Do I have a chance to feed before I go out that way?
You got it. He hangs up, and the next thing you know, you're receiving a text message with a time and the same address again. And so the next night, after hunting, trying to do your best to hunt in Footscray, and as I said in the pizza party session, it's getting harder for you to hunt lately, as you've decided to You've decided to diversify your palette a bit, going after members of the body mod community that don't necessarily openly display the characteristics that define them as such. And so, you may reduce your hunger by 1.
Rock on. Thank you.
And as you step into the brightly lit concrete plaza that's decorated with 4 wooden picnic tables, each of them covered in a litany of graffiti tags. Look from left to right. The bookstore is closed and the cafe appears to be winding down for the night. There's a couple of mortals making their way up and down the street. Occasionally, some of them give you a passing glance as you sit down at one of the tables. You wipe the last dregs of blood off your mouth. You weren't able to find a member of your preferred base of vessels and had to settle for a rather harried-looking bureaucratic civil servant type making his way home from work. Stopping him, chatting him up, getting him into an alleyway, and making sure he wasn't able to fight back were easy enough, but his blood, the stale, almost mothball-like taste still lingers in your mouth. You didn't find it very nourishing, but you hope it'll be enough for your wits to be tuned and ready to deal with Dusty, who's very clearly not working for his own interests here. The time when you're meant to meet Dusty arrives, and it passes. Nervously, you wonder if he's going to show up at all. He ends up arriving an hour late. At first, you see nothing of him. You simply hear his voice coming from the shadows to your right. You turn and look, and there, standing between two gnarled oak trees, standing on a bed of bark and chipped wood, an overgrown garden meant to bring some life to this industrial-looking street. You see the vague shadow of a humanoid figure. He clears his throat. Hope. Can you hear me?
Sure can. And I've got 3 successes to sense the beast, so if there's either vampires, werewolves, or hostile feelings or some weird around, that might tell me.
So, the first thing you detect is the figure standing there. He's indeed a vampire. And even though you can see him outlined clearly and you know he's there, no matter the angle you try to get him, no matter how you maneuver your head to try to catch a glimpse of his body or his facial features, he appears to be continuously shrouded in shadow, and you realise that he must be using some form of obfuscation. The next thing you notice is 2 other humanoid figures lit up in subtle red auras, standing. You swallow nervously. To your left and to your right, seemingly invisible, in thin air, each one flanking you about a meter away.
Alright. Any hostility on the radar?
No hostility, no outward hostility.
Nothing I can detect.
Though you do get the impression that whoever they are, they're prepared to snatch you up if an order is given. Why? You have no idea.
I can hear you just fine.
Good, says the figure. And this time, you recognize him quite clearly as Dusty. If it was just a persona on the phone, he seems to have dropped it a little bit, though you get the impression that perhaps the voice you spoke to on the phone wasn't him at all. Perhaps some sort of handler.
Working through layers. Okay.
He says, "You said you wanted to meet. What's up?"
Well, the Meat Locker gang's got a problem. I know you're on a tight leash, but if there's any assistance you might be willing to throw our way, I could probably offer something nice in trade.
What do you got to offer? He simply says, still standing in shadow.
Something that's right up your consumer's alley. An honest-to-God conspiracy.
The figure remains motionless for a moment. You see him almost leaning forward. His head slowly moves from left to right. You notice he's staring at exactly the locations where the other 2 are. Eventually he nods, and then he steps forwards out of the shadows, drops his obfuscation, and then you see him, Dusty, just as you remember him, save for the fact that his YouTuber outfit, his black shirt with the YouTube logo, the little lanyard he wore around his neck that had the logo for his channel and the address to his social media is gone. Now he's dressed in a dirty white business suit, and around his neck is a silver ankh. He smiles as he steps out into the dim light, and for a moment you see a forked tongue poking out between his pointed teeth. He steps over to you, takes a seat at the picnic table. It creaks under his weight, and then he looks up at you and he says, "Okay, Spill. What can the clear Dusty do for you, and what can you do for the clear Dusty?"
Well, first off, I need to know, you gonna have any conflicts operating against the Sabbat?
He shrugs. He says, "Yeah, guys above me don't want the Sabbat in the city any more than you do, and if we're hearing rumours about the same thing that you're talking about, then you can consider the ministry in your corner."
Okay. That's good. So, I don't know if you've heard, but Father Patrick went and bloodbound Sylvia.
He shrugs. He says, "May have heard it down the grapevine."
We're working a few angles to try and get her free. But the problem is he's trying to get us killed.
He just nods, and he smiles, and he says, "That sounds like a you problem."
Sure is so far. He's working a triple angle. He's nominally... he might be in the Sabbat. He's trying to work a multiple betrayal thing. But the fact is, after we get her free, if we can, we're going to need to hunt down Father Patrick, and we're working an angle to get him out of the graces of the Camarillus protection. Once
Ponders
we're free,
this, and he says, "Yep. Go ahead."
Once we're done, we were trying to get people on him to keep him from escaping. Who do you want in on this? Or in on the assistance in somehow? Doesn't have to be directly confronting the guy. It might be surveillance or helping cover people or stuff like that.
He ponders this, and he says, now see, my people tell me you've reached out to Dahlia and Desmond.
Yep.
So I think Desmond's got it all tied up when it comes to surveillance, digging up info, all that stealthy stuff. Says, but
Right.
I happen to have made a few friends here among the Anarchs, and perhaps if it comes down to a fight, you need some assistance, I might be able to pull some strings and get some children of Set there ready to back you up.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I wouldn't ask you to come out and beat the guy up yourself. I mean, if we can't handle that with what we got. Anyway. Alright.
He just shrugs and he says, don't underestimate the followers of Set. That La Sombra doesn't stand a chance if I get my blokes out there. You just have to make the call. It's because we go way back that I'm willing to pull this string for you, but you also mentioned you had something for me.
Yeah, and this kind of helps us too, so it's kind of a gift that gives us a little too. And I hold up a thumb drive, and I say, so we decoded part of Hunter Journal for our good friends in the Second Inquisition. And one of the things they're doing is they've got their hooks into a pharmaceutical company, and they're whipping up some anti-vampire stuff in the new batch of vaccines.
His eyes light up, and his hand snakes
This sounds like
forward.
a demographics thing, yeah?
He just snatches the thumb drive out of your fingers. He smiles, and he says, oh. He says, now you've just given me the Holy Grail. He says, been hearing some stuff, some dodgy stuff. Pharmaceutical company doing their shilling their vaccines, and look, normally if it came to taking down anti-vaxxers, I'm all there, but something about the way they're doing it wasn't sitting right. chilling it through the channels you would not expect. Videos with police officers telling the public to go get vaccinated. Didn't sit right with me. Was looking for some proof, and you've just handed it to me.
Maybe. You're gonna have to edit it to leave the kindred stuff out, but that's on you.
Naturally, he says. So, look, I'm a kindred same as you, and we care about our food being safe to eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
He says, so, if there's something to it, I'll get the word out. Hopefully a few people will listen. Look, not gonna lie, it's gonna be a change from my usual stuff. Instead of telling people that, they need to go get their vaccines, they need to do what their doctors tell them, I'm gonna be telling people to hold off on something that, well, if you're mortal, sounds like a no-brainer. So I'm not sure how effective it's gonna be, but I'm gonna try.
Thanks, man.
He nods, stands
All right,
up, and he says, anything else?
Nah, it's all good. You and your two friends can scoot. I'm gonna leave now. Thanks, guys.
He flashes a smile and he laughs. Well, looks like you're not the only one who learned some tricks over the last few years. He winks, and then you see him step once more into the shadows. He fades away. You get up.
Oh yeah, that number?
Yep.
Ding, ding. Get the number.
Yep. Get the number. You turn around and you see a slip of paper just sitting on the table. It's got a phone number written on it.
Yep. Into the burner. One of the burners. I carry two now.
Yes, two. Good idea. You grab it, and by the time you finish copying the phone number into your phone, you look around, and the three Setites appear to be gone. So, next downtime action, we're going to be dealing with Sylvia, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sure am.
You have two ways you can go about this. There's the, as Sylvia refers to it, the takeaway container method. And there's the intel that Derek recently dug up about the Vauldery. Or perhaps a combination of two.
I'm thinking we might want to do two. Because once we break the bond, we're going to have to keep her from receiving new infusions.
Yeah, good idea. So,
and once he's out of the picture, then, we can get rid of the add-on.
So, Sylvia, you're having a rare night away from Father Patrick. It's a late shift down at the morgue, and, well, you were hoping you'd have a chance to hit the town and try to assist your coterie on some of the things they've been looking into, rather than spending the night at work. But at this point, any time away from your sire is a blessing. And you're just about to immerse yourself in the deathly quiet of the morgue. You're about to attend to your latest client, a Miss Sharon Parks, a woman of 33 who perished in a car accident. The damage to her face and the front of her body has been repaired, and now you just have to finish the formalities for the coroner so that a death certificate can be printed and handed out to the family. You're just about to reach for your scalpels when there's a knock on the lab door and your boss calls out, "Sylvia, phone call for you at this time of night. I don't know who you've been giving the number to, but they said their name is Jane, and they got something important for you." For a moment, you're confused. You have no idea who Jane could be, and then it clicks. It must be Hope, under one of her various guises.
A phone call, was it?
He nods, he says, "Oh, left the most strangest message. didn't want me to go and get you. I said I'd go get you. He said no. He said, wouldn't be a good idea to put a phone in Sylvia's hands. And I gotta admit, you're not like the other young ones these days. Never seen you with your face in a phone. Anyway, girl left the strangest message. Just said it's takeaway time and to come visit her at the Haven after work. Haven must be one of those nightclubs or something you young folk are into.
Alright, thanks for that. Did she say anything else?
He nods and he says, he said, don't pre-drink, whatever that means.
Right, okay. She's got a weird sense of humor, that one. Don't worry about it. Speaking of, you wouldn't mind if I finished up a bit early today?
He looks at you and he shrugs. He says, oh, look, Sharon's got her face back on. That's what counts. I'll get Jason in. He'll start, tying her innards back up. Get everything in line for the coroner. Look, you can clock off for tonight if you want. You've been good these last couple of nights, love.
Cheers, thanks.
And so, put down your scalpel, head over to the sink, wash the congealed blood off your hands. And the strange order that Hope has sent through your boss, don't pre-drink. You wonder what that could mean. Do you sneak a quick bite from Miss Parks before you leave? Or do you honour this very strange request?
I shall trust Hope. I won't drink.
Very well. So you take off your lab whites, fold them up, place them in your locker, and then make your way to Hope's Haven. You hail a taxi, give them the address in South Melbourne, and then you're on your way. You've been to Hope's tattoo parlour before, not that Hope would be aware of it. But this is the first time officially. And so as you climb out of the taxi and step into the tattoo parlour, a bell rings. The tattooed woman with green hair looks up from the reception counter at the back. She narrows her eyes as she stares at you, and after a few moments she smiles and she says, Oh, I remember you. You were in here a few months ago. You were just browsing. Don't suppose you've finally decided to bite the bullet and get a tattoo, hey?
Well, I'm rather indecisive. I think I'll have a speak with the person in charge of tattoos here, though. Is that alright? Are they around? Who might they be, anyway?
She looks at you and she just nods, smiling understandingly, and she says, Oh, yes, right. I know what it's like. You want to speak to everyone, you want to make sure this is all safe, go through your options, and look, the artist we have here is one of the best. He's got talent like I've never seen. Actually, he's in tonight. Said that he was expecting a client, and, well, you seem to match her description. So, head on in. She points down the hallway towards the office that you remember sneaking into that one time and says, doorway at the end leads down into the basement. Our artist has turned it into his personal sanctum. Said he was going to be down there getting ready. So just knock on the door, tell him you've arrived, and he'll attend to you. And then she smiles and winks.
Alright, well, thanks for that.
And so, you make your way down the hallway, as you were told. You reach the metal door, pull it open, and see a stairwell, a narrow concrete stairwell leading down into a basement. Carefully make your way, and at the bottom, you see a thick wooden door. Clench your hand into a fist, and you knock 3 times. Hope.
Hello,
There's
I'm
a
here
knock
for
on
the free consultation.
The door opens. And I would have called Derek in as well.
Yes, the door opens.
Yeah, Derek's probably already here. The door
okay.
opens, revealing an average-sized Hispanic man, handsome, with neatly trimmed goatee, facial hair, slicked back regular hair, smiling slightly down at you, going, "Hola."
At first, you'd be a little bit off-put by this man, Sylvia. You've never seen him before. You have no idea who he is. And then you glance past him and see, seated in a leather sofa with his long feet up on a glass coffee table, wearing his usual long black trench coat, is Derek, and he seems to be thumbing through a leather-bound tome that looks so old it's a wonder that the pages are still holding together. He briefly looks up and acknowledges you with a nod.
Come in, mi amiga.
No, it's a good one.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Come on in.
You shut the
so
door.
Identities
Yep.
is the thing.
You shut the door behind Hope, gesture for her to take a seat next to Derek, and one last question I have is, would Vincent be here?
No.
No.
Never invited.
Vincent doesn't get invited to
Sorry.
these things.
This is getting into... Yeah.
He's that one friend. Oh.
That's fine. So, you take a seat next to Derek. He briefly looks up from his book, and you're able to just glance at the page, Sylvia, and you see that whatever he's reading, it's something that's incredibly old. The writing is archaic, almost medieval, handwritten calligraphy, and it's near impossible for you to decipher a single word. But Derek seems to be understanding it just fine. He meets eyes with Jose. They just stare at each other. Raphael, for a moment. Raphael smiles back.
I didn't realize this was going to be a whole coterie affair. What you reading, Derek?
Just something I've discovered in my research that may help with one of our many problems.
Okay.
You notice,
Yes,
Sylvia, with some trepidation, that on the thick wooden table at the very back of the apartment in the miniature kitchenette, a stack of plastic Chinese food containers has already been laid out, at least 10 of them.
He has discovered a sorcerous method of improving our teamwork.
Is this method difficult? What does it involve?
It involves a shared drink.
Well, you guys lead the way, I guess.
All right, follow our lead. Dirk, take it away. And the only reason I'm keeping this mask on is because it would cost me blood to change it, and I still got work to do after this.
Fair enough. Practical. I respect that.
So, Derek closes the book with a thump, stands up. Do you have anything to say, Derek, before you launch into it?
Just sort of like a... Yeah, just as like Hope's like, alright, but just follow Derek's lead. Just like, alright, just remember this is a something I found in an old Tremere book, so don't be too surprised about what happens.
Oh, you're really instilling all the confidence in me right now. Is this going to be a painful process?
Derek always comes through.
So Derek,
Again,
you
it's
leave
not very helpful.
you leave the details out of it, I'm presuming? No need to get Sylvia too apprehensive.
Yeah, she'll find out what they ask for enough.
Oh boy.
So Derek reaches into his coat and he pulls out a little glass bowl. He places it on the coffee table. and then he raises his wrist to his mouth, bites into it, and allows some of his blood to drop into the bowl. And as he picks up the bowl and hands it to Raphael/Hope, he explains to you, Sylvia, that you're going to take a drink of each other's blood, and that this will sever the blood bond you have with your sire. Of course, it won't take effect immediately. You still have to stave off the latest dose of Patrick's blood, find a way to resist it just long enough so that his hold over you becomes weakened, so that the ritual that Derek is about to perform can override it, severing it once and for all. He then explains that an unintended side effect will be that the coterie will be working as a solid, tightly knit team from this point onwards.
Okay, it's sounding a little bit like you're forming a new cult that's just the three of us. So, this is a Tremere ritual, you said?
It was found in the Tremere libraries, yes.
He's being very, very vague about this. I hope you realize that.
Raphael bites into his wrist. A bit of his blood drops into the bowl. And then he hands it to you. Derek looks you in the eyes, Sylvia. He's not dominating you, just looking you in the eyes so that you understand the seriousness of what's going on. And he says, well, add your blood to the bowl.
Should I roll to see whether or not I actually do it?
Yes, if you like. If you want to, you can. If you've got misgivings.
I feel like I should. Alright.
Go ahead, just roll willpower plus resolve for me.
Three successes.
3 successes. You really feel like you shouldn't do this, and for a brief moment you see Patrick's face in your mind's eye, looking at you disapprovingly, telling you to not do this under any circumstance. But you force him away, and in sheer defiance, bite into your wrist and add your blood to the concoction.
Okay, now what?
You place the bowl down on the coffee table. Derek clears his throat. And now, Derek, you must begin the ritual. I would like you to please go ahead and make for me an occult plus blood sorcery roll. And you must also rouse the blood, please.
So rouse first. It's a failure, so I get hungrier.
Yep. So that's +1 for Derek later.
What was it? I will. Yeah, I'm gonna burn a will so I can reroll 3.
Yep.
And I dropped one of my die. God damn it.
No, without context, it really seems like we're just summoning a demon or something.
It does.
Yeah. Okay, so it's 4 successes total.
Especially when Derek turns his back to you, Sylvia, holds aloft the tome in one hand, and then with the other hand begins waving his fingers over the bowl, reciting arcane chants. Extremely intimidating, almost satanic phrases spew from his mouth. And then after a few moments, you see the concoction within the bowl begin to glow deeper red, as if The 3 strains of blood from all of you have fused together into something more than the sum of their parts. Derek places the book down on the coffee table, and then Sylvia, he does something completely unexpected. Without warning, he just reaches forwards, picks up the bowl, and takes a sip of the concoction.
Whoa, are you sure that's good for you?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Man, you really gotta work on the lies. Come on.
Derek just awkwardly smiles. Derek, the blood is almost tasteless. It's almost as if you were drinking water. It goes down so quickly, so easily, so without incident that you're almost unsure you did anything at all. But then suddenly you can feel it. You look at Hope and Sylvia around you, and suddenly you realise that through everything that you've been through, they have been there beside you, and you implicitly trust them with what is about to unfold. Who do you hand the bowl to next?
I guess it'd be Jose.
Yep.
No, Raphael, sorry.
Raphael?
I take it. I kind of eyeball what's left. I take us about the same amount Derek did.
Rolls down your throat, almost imperceptible. The misgivings you have about this whole thing depart. At first, you're questioning whether Derek knows what he's even doing, but then you swallow, and you look over at Derek, and you realise, of course, Derek knows what he's doing. He always comes through.
Okay, it's there.
You look towards Sylvia, and silently hand her the bowl.
Bottoms up.
Well, cheers to us, I guess. And I'll down it.
You down what's left of the concoction in the bowl. And just like the others, it's tasteless. At first it's tasteless. As it goes down, the more of it you drink, as it reaches the bottom of your throat, suddenly you gasp in pain. You feel a stabbing agony at the bottom of your esophagus. You gag. And then, as suddenly as it began, it stops.
Take her shoulders.
Yes?
Oh, neither of us did that. How are you feeling?
How am I feeling, storyteller?
You feel, you're a bit concerned about that momentary stab of pain, but aside from that, as you lower down the empty bowl onto the coffee table, you feel the same. It's as if nothing happened.
Look, I hate to break it to you, but nothing's different. I don't think whatever this was worked.
Let me test something. And I pull out a character of Father Patrick. Fuck this guy. Fuck him. I hate him. I'm gonna go kick his ass.
Does this trigger anything?
I would like you to make a willpower roll for me, please.
Like something out of a Clockwork Orange or something.
This guy? Let's stab him with a pin.
Oh, God. Just willpower is 1 success.
1 success. You feel a momentary spurt of anger. You clench your fist. You realise you're about to make a move towards Hope. And then you calm yourself down and just stand there passively witnessing Hope level abuse on this effigy of your sire.
You blow goats.
Hope, I have to ask you something.
Uh-huh.
Were you always just carrying a picture of that guy around? Because that seems really weird.
No, I drew him tonight. I was gonna get a photograph, but then
Ah, yes, right.
So I had
Is
to
the-
draw it.
Is the picture any good? I'm curious.
Well, I mean, I've got craft 3, so...
Yeah, well, I mean,
Holy
it
shit,
bears a
okay.
resemblance to Patrick, but it's the same sort of resemblance that you would ascribe to a caricaturist at, a carnival.
That's about it.
Right,
But
you know
you
what?
didn't try...
No, I didn't try and kill you, I guess. So that's a step in the right direction.
Alright.
So now the question remains, Hope, do you feel that the next part of the plan is necessary, or...
That's up to Sylvia. Okay. We've massively diluted the blood bond for you. Do you also want the takeaway box for now?
Again, is it a painful process?
No, because I can pinch off the nerves.
How long will it take?
A couple hours.
I guess I'm not doing anything for the rest of the night.
That's the spirit. Okay, I'm guessing you'll probably want a blindfold and some headphones so you can at least listen to something while you...
I think a speaker. The headphones always end up cutting out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
It's alright.
Well, I mean, there's this thing called Critical Role I found. It's pretty cool.
Oh yes, hell yeah.
You take a seat at the chair in front of the wooden table, in front of the stack of takeaway containers. And before you know it, Derek is tying a blindfold around your face. And suddenly, from the background, you hear a burst of static, and then a voice coming through the static, sounding distorted, almost as if you'd turned on a radio in the middle of the desert where there's no reception. And Hope, you realize that this is odd, because normally your internet connection here is pretty solid. Static? This isn't a radio, this is Wi-Fi. What's even going on? And then you realize Hope is sitting before you. And
Sylvia's before.
Sylvia is sitting before you, and you just sigh as you get to work, as you catch the occasional word of Matt Mercer asking one of his players to make a roll. Not enough to follow the story, but enough to potentially distract Sylvia from what's going on.
Yeah, I can send Derek out of the room to, read the closed captions to her. Alright.
Please go ahead and make your flesh crafting check.
First up is a rouse check, which I succeed. And now flesh crafting, as we determined, was resolve plus craft
Correct.
plus protean. So 10 dice.
Jeez.
Yeah. What the hell? I've got willpower for this stuff. 5 successes says it works, though.
Yeah. 5 successes. Sylvia, you're glad you're blindfolded because you feel your insides squirm and lurch several times. Not in a painful way, but in a way that makes you gag and nearly throw up blood all over the table in front of you. But after a few hours, mercifully, it is done. The blindfold is removed. You look down at your abdomen, and it looks like nothing has changed. But inside, you can feel it. You can feel something heavy, heavier than it should be, sitting there. And you realize it is done. So, you may add 2 dots of bond resistance.
Oh, thanks.
1 dot for the
You're welcome.
takeaway method, and the other dot for the Vauldery that Derek performed.
Alright.
Thank you both.
Now,
No worries. Here's how you change the box.
Go ahead.
There you go. There you go. Just pull till the
That's-
scar opens. Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah, see
really
that.
weird.
It's
And
like
once this is done with.
it's like changing a tampon in a very superficial way, just with something being pulled out of an orifice that shouldn't exist and replacing it with something that should not be inside the human body. Sylvia, your downtime up until now has been consumed with your sire's machinations, so you don't have any downtime activity, but I would like you to go ahead and roll to see if you can shake the blood bond for the final time. Please go ahead and make a resolve plus intelligence plus 3 bonus dice roll.
Okay. So 8 dice.
Are you happy with that, or do you want to burn blood to boost it?
That's a good point. I will do that as well. I'll spend everything on this.
It is kind of crucial.
Failed the rouse check, but is it plus 2 dice or plus 1 dice?
So it's
Plus
plus
two.
2 dice. The rule book I have on the thing says plus 1 dice, but it's plus 2 dice as of the latest revision, so...
It's been errated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Give me 1 second, it's a lot of dice.
Yeah. So it's at least 10.
I will spend a willpower because that was
Yep.
questionable. Much better. 7 successes on a critical.
The very next night, you awaken, climb out of your bed, and step out of the tiny bedroom into the university chapel proper to see your sire, Father Patrick, sitting in the pews, looking towards you, smiling, his sickening smile, making your stomach and your insides churn. "Come, my pretty," he says. "It's time to drink." He holds out his wrist, and like always, you kneel before him, clutch his wrist to your mouth, and drink deeply. A few seconds later, you hear from the depths of your body a plastic plink, and you smile. You release Patrick's wrist. He purrs. "Yes, my darling Sylvia, you are mine, and will always be mine." Little does he know, as of tonight, you are his no longer. The blood bond is finally broken. We crossed
All
to...
right.
Yeah. All
I
right.
finally get some shit done. Oh my god.
Finally get some
Okay.
shit done.
Yeah.
And that's going to be very useful very soon in this story. We cross to Vincent.
James?
Vincent, over the last 2 months, you've had a little contact with the coterie, but not much. You've seen them in Elysium a couple times, the times when you've had to meet up with them for appearances. But aside from that, they've been doing their own thing, and you've been doing yours. Squizzy's had them sent on various assignments around the city, ostensibly in the name of enforcing the masquerade, checking up on problematic individuals, and questioning people that Squizzy and Speck suspect of being possible deterrents, possible dissidents. But your job has been to immerse yourself once again in the politics of the Ventru, to spend your nights in Elysium exchanging barbs and petty gossip with the rest of the Ventru, getting ever closer to your sire, Elliot Palmer, so that any pieces of wayward gossip indicating his or any other Ventru's involvement in Patrick's plans would reach your ears. While you're going about this, is there any other particular bits of intel you want to try to glean from Elysium?
Yeah, I'm mostly just curious about what my sire is up to, and if he has anything that could be leveraged against him.
Yes. So I would like you to please go ahead and make for me a charisma and etiquette check. You may add any presence dots you have.
Sure, that's 3, 6, 7. 6 successes.
6 successes. For most of the 2 months between last session and now, Elysium is the same droll affair that it always is. For a few weeks, the hot topic is the presence of flesh-crafted monstrosities in the city. The fact that the Anarchs have a rogue flesh-crafter working for them. The rumour that Squizzy has firmly established that has flown through the court, capturing everybody's attention. Who could this rogue flesh crafter be? What do their plans mean for the Anarchs? Are there more monstrosities stalking the alleys and side streets of the city? What will it mean for the masquerade? But soon, like all news, this fades into the background and is forgotten, replaced with the latest gossip of Maria Diamante's latest party, of the latest faux pas by a low-level Ventru, of the Anarchs in the city, and what possible plans they may have for the Camarilla, of the latest crop of neonates to be brought into Elysium and presented, and their various failings. And then finally, something reaches your ears that interests you greatly, Vincent. It's a conversation that you overhear between your primogen, Thornton Adams, and your sire, Elliot Palmer. You're not quite part of their inner circle. You haven't quite regained the position you used to have, but you're high enough, close enough, that they're able to speak in confidence around you, not suspecting that you're listening to their every word, deciding whether or not it's worth passing on to your secret benefactor. Elliot Palmer approaches Thornton. He looks around Elysium, looks to see if he's being heard. He sees only you nearby. This seems to fill him with confidence as he leans in and whispers to Thornton Adams, Look, Melissa and Victoria, they can't find the recordings. Well, what do you mean? Says Thornton. Well, it's, look, guy who had them, we thought we had them secure, thought we had them in Melissa's database, you know, in the news database. They'd be safe there, and, well, they're gone. Well, what does Melissa have to say about this? Palmer shrugs and he says, Melissa has nothing to say, nor does Victoria. Either someone within the news station has gone in and deleted it, or someone knows about our plans and they're working against us. Thornton stops for a moment. He looks, makes sure none of the other Ventru are close. Matches eyes with you, narrows them, giving you a look that tells you in a single expression that everything you're hearing is not to leave Elysium. It's not even to leave this little circle that has formed inside all of the Ventru.
I smile and sort of nod slightly and then turn back to what I was doing.
What do you mean someone's aware of our plans? There's only 3 of us who've been brought in. You, me, and Palmer nods. Yes, I know. And the only one who knew was disposed of. But there's a variable we didn't account for. Thornton's lips thin. Yes, and what variable would that be, Palmer? Palmer sighs. She had a child. A child that we thought was beneath concern. But something's going on and someone's working against us. Thornton frowns. A child? You think a gangrel has the facilities, has the resources, has the intellect to steal away footage under Melissa Redmond's nose? Palmer simply shrugs, and he says, "No, I don't. But if someone else who knew what we were up to wished to make moves against us, all I'm saying is that the child would be a quick and easy ally. Get them on your side, and what they know, what they may have left behind from their sire, combined with whatever Michael Gardner has up his sleeve, and..." Thornton nods. He smiles and he says, "Well, we shall have to plan contingencies." He looks over his shoulder at you, Vincent, and now it seems to be when he decides that you should no longer be privy to this discussion. He motions for Palmer to follow him and leads him back into the throng of Ventru, out of earshot.
Very interesting.
And so, we now move into the story proper. Here we are, 2 months later. It is December 31st, 2020, New Year's Eve. The latest COVID lockdown has been lifted, and almost like a switch was flicked, Melbourne has turned from a ghost town to a flurry of frenzied festivity. This, the year of COVID, is coming to an end, and the mortals at least seem prepared to spend the night partying harder than they've ever partied before. Derek.
Yes.
When you awaken this night, you find a message from your phone. As you climb out of your 4-poster bed, reach for your phone on the bedside table, and turn it on, the screen turns on, filling the dark room with a dim green light. There's a message. It's from Emily, the Thin Blood. It simply reads, "Get in touch now. Friend of mine is getting threatening text messages. Messages that mention bloodsuckers."
And then I'll, give a number a call.
So before you do that, Derek, I'd like you to rouse the blood to see if you get hungrier as your torpid blood begins to animate, begins to pump through your body and cause you to rise for the night.
That is a fail, so I get hungrier.
So you get hungrier, so you begin at hunger 3 tonight.
Yep.
Everyone else, if we take 1 plus the hunger you earned during downtime and mini sessions off camera, Sylvia and Vince are starting at hunger 3, and Hope is beginning at hunger 2. And I would now like all of you to please roll your rouse checks as you awaken for the night to see if you grow even hungrier.
I failed, so I'm at 4.
Oh, so 4 hunger for Vince.
I got success, but I think I'm at 4 because of the rouse check I just made a second.
Right, so 4 for Sylvia. Hope, how did you go?
I failed, so I'm at 3.
Squizzy's had you pretty much on beck and call for the last 2 months. You've had time to hunt, but just barely, just enough to keep you from the verge of frenzy. His dogged obsession with maintaining the facade of normality has commanded most of your time and effort. And you're constantly, these nights, feeling the intense urges, the roars of your beast, the pangs of hunger that never cease, but in these nights, most of all, seem to be stronger than ever. So Derek, you grab your phone, you dial Emily's number. She answers immediately, and she says, Oh, thank God, I've been waiting for hours for you to, the daylight thing and all, and, well, things could be bad. Things could be very bad.
And so your friend is being threatened, and have they specifically mentioned kindred, or?
Bloodsuckers, she says. My friend Bella, someone that, Slick and I, we've been hanging with. So she's, well, you could say she's a part of the kindred community. She's she's like us, a thin blood. Someone we met through the Anarchs, but, well, us thin bloods, we don't exactly immerse ourselves in all of the vampire stuff like you guys, and, well, lately Bella's been getting these weird, threatening texts. At first I told her to ignore and block them, but they've been getting worse and worse and more explicit. Now they're calling her a bloodsucker and a murderer, and she's really freaked out. We're the only ones who know that she's, like us. No one else she hangs out with knows, and, well, when you and Hope told us about the Second Inquisition, it could be someone just fucking with her, but the things they're saying about bloodsuckers drinking blood, they haven't specifically called her a vampire or used any terms like kindred or anything like that, but it's got me on edge. You give her a moment to calm down. You hear her breathing on the other end. And she calms down. She says, well, here's the thing. Well, Bella's throwing a New Year's Eve party tonight, okay? Like, at her apartment. She's got the entire apartment block there. They're all going to turn up. They're going to be partying till dawn. And, well, I gave you a call because I thought maybe you could swing by, see what's up, maybe try to get to the bottom of this whole thing. And, well, I know you mentioned that the prince has had you pretty busy lately. I thought you'd appreciate the chance to have a little fun while you were doing it,
Well, I can't say I don't appreciate the sentiment. Yeah, give me a few minutes and I'll swing by your place.
Right, she says. It's up to you if you want us to come. I don't know if we'll be in the way if shit goes down, but, you know, she is our friend and everything, and, well, look, Slick and I said we'd already be there. We've got some stuff to attend to. If you want to meet us there, we can do that. Get in touch with Hope and the others if you can, and, well, just please, I don't think there's a lot of time, and if this person's someone to worry about, then I've got the feeling they're going to try to make a move tonight.
Yeah, I was getting the same feeling. If the threats are true, that'll probably happen tonight. Yeah, well, send me through their address, let her know I'm coming, and I'll go talk to her.
Emily says, right, okay. And in the background you hear Slick say, see, Emily, Derek knows what to do. Let's just head over there. Let's just party. Let's just forget the whole vampire thing for a night. And Emily breathes. She calms herself down. She says, yeah. Derek will sort it out. Derek and Hope know how to play the game. And, well, like you said, Slick, sure it's just some loser. Derek will sort it out. She says, all right, Derek, we'll meet you there. Please, try to look the part. Bella has, well, she's never met you, and you at least want to make a good first impression, yeah?
I'll try my best.
She hangs up, and a few seconds later, your phone vibrates. You receive a text message with an address to Bella's apartment. Apartment block on Little Burke Street, right on the edge of the CBD and Carlton, right on the edge of Camarilla territory, a particularly dangerous place for a thin blood to be living, you think. Included is a picture of Bella, Mediterranean woman with dark eyeshadow and a black dress. As far as you can tell from the picture, she looks completely human. If she's a kindred, then indeed she's a thin blood. Given that she seems to be living right on the edge of the territory of those who would instantly kill her, your first thought is that she must be good at hiding her true nature from those around her, which perhaps makes the threatening text messages even more concerning. Do you contact the others?
Not just at the moment, no. Derek's kind of thinking he'll head over, see what other messages are and all that, and then it's like, sort of go from there.
Yep.
I'm sure won't bite me in the arse later.
So you're not going to get the others to come and help you out?
Not just yet.
Not just yet. Well, that's just as well, because at the same time as Sylvia is awakening, crawling out of her bed and stepping into the chapel proper and breathing a sigh of relief that Father Patrick is not there, and allowing finally those feelings of intense hatred to fully wash over her, a liberating feeling these nights after years of being in his thrall. Sylvia, you notice that a white paper envelope has been slipped under the door of the chapel.
Go ahead and pick it up.
You go ahead, take up the envelope and sit down in one of the pews as you use your nails to pierce the top, tear it open, and retrieve within a yellow post-it note with handwriting that you immediately recognize as Dorian's. Dorian, your close friend, your touchstone, and Father Patrick's former ghoul. And now that you're finally free of Father Patrick's influence, he's been the pillar of strength that has held you up these nights, eagerly filling your head with all sorts of schemes to finally avenge yourself against your sire. But tonight, his note is quick and simple. It has an address for a New Year's Eve party on Little Burke Street. It reads, "Someone I know through the Anarchs, getting threatening messages. Could be SI, could have something to do with your sire. Thought you might like to check it out."
Okay. Looking at the address, who in the coterie would be the closest to it? Or along the way to this
Vincent,
place?
probably.
Oh, good. Okay. How far out of the way are Hope and Derek?
So Hope's
I'm wounded.
Hope's all the way in South. Well, Hope's all the way in South Melbourne, and Derek is a couple blocks from the University of Melbourne campus, where the Chantry supposedly is. Although you've never seen it for yourself, his haven is a couple blocks from there, so that it's within easy access of Professor Cypher. But it's on the other side of the address that you're supposed to be heading to.
Okay, I will grudgingly get changed and go ahead to Vincent's apartment, I guess.
Yep. Vincent, you're standing in front of the mirror in your bedroom.
As I do.
You're grooming yourself, making sure your hair is straight, making sure your dinner jacket fits you impeccably. There's going to be important contacts to make at Elysium tonight. New Year's Eve. This is when all of the kindred in Melbourne do their utmost best to try to outdo each other, to bring in the new year in their own way. And just as you finish adjusting your dinner jacket, you hear a knock on the door of your apartment.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hello?
Hello?
Yep, open the door right now, please.
Oh, you're fucking kidding me. I open the door. What are you doing here?
Hey, I need to borrow your phone, sorry.
Why?
So it turns out, you mind if I let myself in? Yeah, I'll just squeeze inside.
The door opens and in steps Sylvia and...
Cheers.
Okay. Take off my shoes.
Sylvia pulls off her high heels and carefully places them on the edge of the door frame. And Vincent, you notice that Sylvia appears to have dressed up, and you shudder at the thought that she'll be attending Elysium tonight, especially given the last few times she's been there, when she and Father Patrick have spent almost the entire time glaring at each other, a few times either one of them looking like they're coming close to frenzying.
Oh, jeez. You don't look half like shit. Is there anything on tonight?
Oh, well, that's so nice of you to say. You look like you've spent the last few hours standing in front of a mirror.
Well, I mean, well, we gotta keep ourselves, presentable.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so...
Yeah, fine.
Yes, phone. Oh, well, actually, you'll have to make the calls because I can't. Anyway, so someone I know... No, the friend of a friend is getting threatened, and so kind of need to sort it out. It seems like a whole coterie sort of deal, so, Avengers assemble, yada yada.
Oh, fuck me. Am I part of the coterie now?
Of course you are, you're our best friend, Vince.
Mm-hmm.
Make the call, please.
Yeah, alright, fine, give me the number.
Cite Hope and Derek's numbers.
So,
Make
Vincent, your first call is to Derek, and when Derek answers, you hear the sound of a car running in the background and a key turning the ignition. As you explain that Hope stepped into your apartment and...
Sylvia.
Oh yeah. As you explain that Sylvia stepped into your apartment,
wouldn't mind Herb so much.
and that she wishes for the coterie to assemble and head to this New Year's Eve party where apparently a mortal is getting threatened. Derek surprises you by informing that, yeah, he's heard about that too. In fact, he's on his way to the very same location.
What's he saying?
He knows. He's on the way.
Okay.
And Derek, as you hang up the phone and pull your car out of the parking lot onto the streets, in spite of yourself, you feel sort of a wave of relief inside. You wanted to handle this on your own, but perhaps due to the effects of the Vaulderie, you feel perhaps a slight bit safer and more comfortable knowing that at the very least Sylvia and Vince apparently are going to be rendering assistance. Hope, you're in your tattoo parlour. So far, business has been booming. Apparently New Year's Eve is a good time for people to drunkenly get tattoos. And you've already imprinted at least 20 variations of love hearts, angels, and dragons onto various clients' skins.
I love the dragons the most, and I don't know why.
They do seem to love the dragons. After seeing off the latest client and having finally a spare moment to head into your office and just lean against the wall and breathe and try to get a handle on the roaring hunger pains, the urges that have been pressing against you all night that are particularly present when you're inches away from a customer's blood vessel. Your phone... Yep.
I don't suppose any of them have been isolated enough to feed upon.
Well, your touchstone's always present.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd try to sneak a bit.
Yeah.
Your beast roars as your phone vibrates, and irritably you reach over and grab it. You see Vincent's number.
Hola, me. Oh, hey, how's it going?
Look, hi, Herb?
Yeah, speaking.
Yeah, I relayed the message.
Vincent tells you that Sylvia has just turned up, and that apparently both she and Derek have been contacted by someone they know whose mutual friend is reportedly receiving threatening messages referring to her being a vampire, messages threatening to expose her to the world. Said person is throwing a New Year's Eve party tonight, and you've been invited to attend, to serve as bodyguards perhaps, or simply to try and determine the source of the threatening messages.
Okay. So I'm going to look a bit different when I show up. I say letting my voice box fall back into Raphael's mode. But I'll see you there.
God, you're fucking weird. Yeah, alright, see you there.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on, see you there?
Hispanic guy. About 6 feet tall.
I'm involved? Oh, good Christ. Okay. I'll see you there.
What's she saying?
Sorry, man. Alright, I get the address, put the phone down, look down at myself, realize I'm way too hungry to risk changing back, and yeah. Okay.
Going tonight in the guise
Of Raphael.
of Raphael.
And for the record, he has one less stamina than the looks merit.
Yeah.
Okay, so Harp's a Hispanic man.
Right?
And everything's organized. I guess I'm coming with you.
Oh, more than that, you're driving us there because I don't have a car. Sorry.
God, okay. Why do I do these things for you people?
You're saving lives, probably.
When has that ever been my problem?
As you step out of your apartment, Vincent, pull the door shut behind you. You almost feel like smashing Sylvia into the wall as your beast roars. You're too hungry to put up with this shit. But you realize somewhere in the back of your mind that if there is a potential masquerade breach, well, Squizzy would want you there. After all, it's part of maintaining the facade of normality. And at the very least, your spirits rise when you realize that at the party there should be ample opportunity for feeding.
Bloody well better be. Okay. You ready to go?
Yep.
So, is there anything any of you would like to do on the way to the party? Bearing in mind that as it is a party, there'll be plenty of mortals there. You all get the feeling that feeding will be something you could probably do at the party. But, that said, it's up to you if you want to turn up as hungry as you are.
I think I can risk it. For the biscuit. So tell Marita, the muse has left me. Move back my remaining appointments.
She sighs and she says, very well. Look, got a couple more for tonight, then I'll close up shop. I'll do them myself, and well, I can't do as mean a dragon as you can. All I have to do is draw a lizard with wings. All I have to do is draw a lizard with wings, right?
Yeah, go for it. That's about right.
You step outside, climb into your car, just as...
Kawasaki.
Climb... I was going to say with Sylvia and Vince climbing into there. But yeah, you climb you sit aside your Kawasaki, turn the handlebar, the engine roars to life, and you speed out onto the street. Your beast roaring to life, finally roaring. Freedom, time to hunt. At last. On the other side of the CBD, Sylvia and Vincent climb into the modded out CRX. The engine roars to life, and you're all carried to your destination. Anyone you wish to contact on the way? Any stopovers you wish to make?
Do you guys know what kind of party this is gonna be?
So Sylvia's just been told it's a party.
I got a little note slipped under my door. It was a post-it note, so you can imagine not exactly paragraphs of information there.
Okay, well, I'm fucking hungry, and,
So am I, suck it up.
I'm just saying that I have particular tastes, and it can be tricky sometimes. So, if it's a fucking bush stuff we're going to, then we might be in a bit of trouble.
Can't you just make do with something?
No, I can't.
Look, we can discuss with the others after we get there, alright? Got any CDs in this thing?
Fucking, yeah, just check the glove box.
Derek, would you have sent the picture of Bella to anyone, or are you keeping that under wraps just in case?
Yeah, he wouldn't have sent it yet because, like I said, he wasn't planning on bringing anyone in yet. But it's like, oh, okay, everyone's going to be there anyway.
Yep, that's fair enough. So you're just going to keep the picture under wraps for the moment. Right. So, the address leads you all to an old brownstone apartment building. right off Little Burke Street on the edge of trendy Carlton. The brownstone has a flag reading Quest flying above the entrance. As Vincent and Derek's cars pull up, turn into the street, and find parking spots in amongst the tens of vehicles that are already crammed along the side of the road. You hear the purr of Hope's Kawasaki rounding the corner. Hope comes to a stop beside Vincent's car, turns off the engine, and then kicks out the kickstand and just props it up against the back of Vincent's car. Derek climbs out of his red 2020 Holden, a late acquisition with his newfound donations from his cult. And the four of you assemble on the street in front of the building. The windows on the bottom floors are dark, but you can see coloured lights strobing in several of the top floor windows. You can also hear a cacophony of distorted, buzzing music thumping from the building. It seems like the entire apartment block is in on this New Year's Eve party, and as you all congregate towards each other, you even catch glimpses of several people moving in and out of the building, shooting you curious glances as they move past. The sides of the street are crowded together with a wall of cars of various makes and models. It seems that there's a full house tonight.
First of all, I turn to Hope. What the fuck is this shit?
I'm arranging a pick in my hair. What?
I think you know her.
You like?
Oh my god, this shit.
I adjust a pick in my hair, adjust my leather jacket. Well, she called me when I was working.
Oh my god, okay. How many years has it been under wraps? Not fucking important. Okay, I guess I can work with this. Name?
Raphael.
Raphael, okay.
I don't speak Spanish for the record.
Oh, good. That must help the, guys. Onda.
Don't blame me, I'd switch back and except I'm so damn hungry and might risk, yeah.
Madre de Dios. Well, okay. So you guys don't know much about what's going on tonight, right?
You call me, man.
I turn to Sylvia.
I turn to Derek.
I also turn to Derek.
Derek explains that apparently this Bella character is a thin blood, and even though she seems to have done an admirable job so far of concealing her true nature, somebody may be aware of it enough to be sending her messages with references to drinking blood.
Okay,
At this point, I'll take out my phone and show the picture of her, just so that everyone's aware of what she looks like.
Yep.
Okay.
Those thin bloods.
That's what we're looking for.
At this point, I would like Sylvia to please make an intelligence medicine check.
Okay.
What on this?
This does make a coterie business. This is a possible masquerade breach.
2 successes.
So a year.
Oof.
So, Sylvia, you recognize this dark-skinned woman on Derek's phone. You've seen her before. And then you look up at the building, that entire brownstone that seems to be thumping as the party goes on, and it all makes sense to you. This woman, Bella, presumably, is known to you as Bruja. She's a YouTuber, an influencer. She makes videos about macabre topics such as unsolved murders, forensic stories of icky forensic discoveries, creepypastas, but most of all, and the thing that attracted you to her, is that apparently, at one point in her pre-YouTube life, she worked as an assistant for a medical examiner in the coroner's office, and many of her most popular videos concern stories of all the bizarre, horrifying, and disgusting things she saw.
Sorry, an assistant at the coroner's office?
Yes, and it's news to you that she's a thin blood, if indeed that's true.
Okay, I think I know this girl. She's, like those true crime podcasts that are just everywhere these days?
Are?
Yeah, she's like...
yeah.
yeah, she's like one of the people who make those. She used to work at the coroner's office. But I didn't know she was a thin blood, so that's new.
I mean, that's what they're supposed to be good at. So.
Yeah.
That's all I've got.
Wait, calls herself Brusha?
Yeah.
Yes,
That
that's
sounds
right.
familiar.
I definitely saw that. Yep.
Sylvia, you tell Derek, you give Derek the link to her YouTube channel, at least what you remember it to be, as it's not like you could do much watching of it yourself these days. But Derek holds up his phone again with Bella's YouTube page on the screen, and indeed, her name is Bruja, spelt Bruja. No H on the end.
Subtle.
I mean, it also means witch, so, I mean, there's that. Still is.
Yeah.
So you do speak Spanish now?
Muy poquitito.
Ah,
Very small.
No habla inglés.
Dude.
So, with this extra bit of intel in hand, how do you guys think you'd like to approach this?
I think so. Just before we head in, though, I will point out, like, Derek isn't wearing his trench coat or anything. He's made an attempt to dress what he believes would be normal for this sort of situation.
What does Derek believe to be normal attire for a New Year's Eve party?
Probably a fairly nice pair of slacks. Maybe not what he normally wears, but it's a nice shirt. But then he's still got the vest over it. But he's made sure not to have his full trench coat or anything.
Yeah.
He's gotta make sure I don't appear trimmier while I'm here.
Does he have a trilby?
No hat.
No hat.
Still the glasses though.
So, basically, to you, Vincent, Derek looks like a bartender.
I could use that. Okay, I guess we should get in. I need a fucking drink.
We should get in. Derek, you say your friend, your friends are with their friends.
Yeah, she's a friend of Emily and Slits, apparently.
So why don't you handle talking to her, and the rest of us keep an eye out for anything suspicious.
Yeah, that should work. I told Emily to give her the heads up I would be heading over, so she knows I'm coming, at least.
Yeah, and if any of us find something, we let the others know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the front doors to the building are unlocked, and you easily gain entry, stepping inside, letting the music overwhelm your senses. There are only a few people on the lower floor. A couple pressed against the wall of the lobby, locked in a passionate kiss, and Another man dressed in a tuxedo making his way down the corridor towards the entrance. He eyes you suspiciously as you pass. There's an elevator at the end of the corridor, but as you walk up to it, you realise the doors are closed and a sign reads, "Take the stairs." It's written in handwriting, and the stairs to the left have sheets of paper with hand-drawn arrows pointing up, taped to the wall.
Dude was wearing a tuxedo. Well, I don't have one of those in my bag.
Yeah, what's Raphael wearing?
Raphael's wearing like a leather jacket, loose shirt, tight jeans, shows off his ass.
Christ.
I mean, you have a momentary thought that you might be underdressed, but considering the couple that are passionately kissing in the lobby appear to be wearing the very stereotypical goth ensemble, you feel you might be okay.
I'm fine. This will be great. This will be fine. Besides, I got my looks to fall back on. All right.
So you make your way up the stairs, and as you reach the top floor, you find the landing blocked by two large, muscular men wearing black t-shirts with stickers that have the word security handwritten on them in Sharpie. Looks like they're probably residents of the building who volunteered to check invites to the party. One of them eyes the four of you, and he says, "Names?"
A step forward, and Vincent Merriweather.
"Vincent Merriweather," he says, raising his eyebrow. Interesting. Never seen anyone try to pass themselves off as him before, but either way, you're not on the list.
No, I'm not on the list. I helped make it.
The other guy folds his arms and he says, "Well, come on, names. Proper names this time."
I'll just step forward, just Derek.
Derek, huh? He looks down at the slip of paper in his hand, shakes his head, says, "Ain't no Derek here. Look, Bruges party's exclusive, okay? She's been having a lot of trouble lately. She's not just about to let anyone in." He looks at Vincent and he says, "And come on, if you even have half a clue who Bruger is, you would know someone like Vincent Merriweather would not be on her list of invites. So come on, pal, stop playing games."
Can I try?
Alright, sorry. You got me, man. I'm just fucking with you.
I lean forward. We ain't exactly on the list, I will say that. But I will say that also that Colin the dog Cisco and Thomas Roth told me this is a good place to hang.
Ooh, okay. I'd like you to please make a charisma streetwise check for me, Raphael, or Hope.
Can I throw in Anarch status or no?
You can throw in your Anarch status.
Alright, 5 dice. Five successes.
Jesus.
Man raises his eyebrows at you. He looks down at the slip of paper.
They'll be fine.
And he says, How do you know Mr. Roth? And they're not even on the list, but they have to, if they turn up, they're allowed in with no questions asked. And Fine, says the man. And the two men disperse, allowing you access to the party.
Seems I made a name for myself.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's kind of amazing.
In
No,
the
not so
hall,
much.
do you want to
Problem,
do
actually.
you want to ask him about it?
I'm curious.
in the yep.
No, you got what were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna move on if you weren't gonna ask him about it.
Okay, I might pull him aside. All right, so obviously I'm just fucking around, trying to I was curious how you'd respond. What do you know about Merryweather?
I'd like you to go ahead and please make a charisma persuasion check.
That will be. I probably am down a die since I probably haven't had a hit in a while.
Yeah, you haven't
This could
had
be
it
tricky.
in a while.
This could be dodgy, actually. Messy crit.
Oh dear lord.
Yeah. So at first the two just look at each other. They're unsure if they want to answer, and one of them looks at you and he says, "What's it to you?" You just step forwards. You don't have the patience for this. Your beast roars. You step forwards. You wrap your hand around his throat and push him against the wall. And you say, "Tell me about Vincent Merryweather, or I will kill you where you stand."
Okay.
The other guy raises his hands in the air and he says,
Forget
"Okay,
about that.
alright, keep your shirt on, man. Look, all we know is Bruja is having beef with some people. She's been getting these weird messages lately, thinks someone's out to get her, and Vincent Merryweather was one of the names that she told us to be on the lookout for. Said specifically that she wanted to keep her head down from some group called the Camarillo or something like that."
Fuck, okay.
And then, as you say this, the other three of you just see from the hallway behind the guards a man wearing a leather jacket with long blonde hair that comes down halfway down his chest, stepping forward, and he's got one hand inside his leather vest, and he narrows his eyes as he sees Vincent pressing this guard against the wall, and he says, "Hey, hands off, unless you want trouble."
Sorry, man. It's all good. It's all good.
Hey, that. Took Ben's back. Easy, man. Easy. He's had a rough night. I'll tell the guy he pressed up again. Sorry.
You know how it goes. It really, no hard feelings, man, right?
Go ahead, Raphael.
Figure out if he's a vampire. I probably don't.
There's a lot of blood just in this confined space. The heat of all these people pressed together.
Yeah.
He could be a vampire, but he's most likely not. All you know is that he's staring with a look of barely disguised anger at Vincent. And as Vincent lets the guard go, he looks at the guard and he says, "This yuppie fucker giving you trouble?" And the guard looks over at Vincent, says nothing. The guy takes a step forwards, reaches into his vest and flicks out a switchblade, and then his face twists to anger. He looks in Vincent's direction and he says, "Oi, fucko! What are you doing here?"
Shit. Okay. So seriously, man, I'm really sorry, dude. I'm having a weird night. I think I took some fucked up shit the other day, and I'm still getting the after effects. I'm sorry, man. I won't make a problem of myself, alright?
I would like Hope and Vincent to please make charisma persuasion checks. You can substitute, either of you can substitute it with performance if you like.
This a body mod guy?
He's not he does have a silver piercing in his right nostril, so you can add a dice.
Yep.
And also Vincent, you can add, if you have ore, you can add presence dice.
Okay.
2 successes.
So sorry, what was it was charisma and...
Charisma and either performance or persuasion, and you can add present...
Yeah.
And you can add
If you
presence
wanna
if you
throw
have it.
Bestial failure. Oh my god.
Jesus.
I'm so sorry,
Big
folks.
steel fell.
Okay.
So Raphael raises his hands. He says, "Look, my buddy's a bit messed up. Someone must have spiked his drink or something. And look, we're just trying to get back in there so we can find out what was going on. He's not meaning anyone any harm." At this, Vincent, you're not gonna take this shit. Your beast roars and you leap forward, setting upon the man. I would like you to please make a strength or dexterity plus athletics check.
Oh, good Christ.
Get into the party. We didn't even get into the party.
Two steps in the door, Jesus.
So anyway,
Mm.
we're all
Oh,
gonna
this is
turn.
Very bad. Dex athletics, is that?
Yep, or strength.
Okay.
Are any of the rest of you doing anything as you see Vince just snarl and leap forward?
So first, I'm going. The guy came through a door, right?
He just came walking down the hallway behind the guards. So basically, you're just standing on the landing of the stairs. You're not even actually in the apartment.
So I immediately whip. Nobody else is in sight.
You can make a wits awareness check if you like.
That's going to depend. That's going to tell me what kind of action to take here, because we need to cover this up and smooth it over. Does anyone else have for that forgetful mind trick?
Oh,
Not
wait,
too
I,
bad.
Yeah.
I actually have forget now. Oh my god.
You do?
Yeah.
Sylvia
Yeah.
has
Here,
it.
you have it. All right. So
It's real
wits plus perception.
So how many people are currently involved in what's going on that aren't?
So there's just the
Probably
two guards, and the two guards who are just standing there, and the guy that Vincent's about to attack. It doesn't look like
2
anyone else is in the
successes.
stairwell.
2 successes.
2 successes. So in a split second, Raphael, you peer past the guy down the dark hallway. There's flashing lights coming from various apartments, but you can't see anyone within the hallway. You look over your shoulder and you see no one in the stairwell. It's just you and these 3.
I wave at Sylvia and Derek to get the other one. I grab one of the guards and say, "Forget," and turn him to face away down on the stair as I sling my shoulder around him. So you see, man, it's not so hard when you get down to it.
Yep. How did Vince go on his check?
Oh,
Oh, it was a bestial failure.
Oh, your athletics dex one as well. All right. So
I haven't had Coke or blood in a while.
Yeah, so Vince, you completely lose yourself. Your beast just goes, "Kill him, drink him now," and it sounds alright to you. You came here to feed, you came here to get a drink, why not this guy? So you just leap forwards, and this guy is clearly, he must be their makeshift bouncer or something. He's seen some shit. And so as you leap towards him, he lashes out with the knife. And you wrap your arm around him and go to sink your fangs into his neck, and he plunges his knife up into your chest and deals 4 points of superficial damage.
Oh god.
half down to 2, right?
Halved down to 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
You pull him down to the floor, and as he starts to struggle, you sink your fangs into his neck and just start drinking deep.
Sylvia or Derek.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm running.
Yep.
I'll yell at Derek. I'm getting Vincent. I'm
Yep.
gonna try and drag Vincent off.
So Derek. Okay, block the hallway or something.
Yep. So Derek's gonna grab a guy to make him forget, and Sylvia's gonna try to pull Vincent off.
Yeah. Other way around.
Other way around.
Oh,
Alright.
is it?
How do you guys want to do it?
Okay.
He's drunk.
Sylvia volunteered to get.
Sylvia, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, drunk girl.
Alright. So Derek, I'd like you to make a strength athletics check to just grab the guard, force him away from just because he turns and watches as Vincent leaps forwards. His mouth drops open, but if he has anything to say, you don't hear it. All of this is drowned out by the constant pumping of music coming from down the hallway. But you're going to leap forwards and try to grab him and force him to look into your eyes.
Yeah. That's 3 successes.
20. Yeah. So you grab him, one hand on each of his ears and forcibly pull him around. He shouts something in protest, but you can't hear it as the music swells. You look into his eyes and whisper forget as Sylvia runs past you towards Vincent. Vincent, you are currently at hunger 4. You've sunk your teeth into this guy, and as blood spurts out, as the ecstasy swells over you, as the sweet, warm vitae begins to run down your throat, I would like you to roll for hunger frenzy. And the way we do that is you will be rolling your willpower plus 1/3 of your humanity, rounded down.
Good. Okay. That's going to be 6.
Okay.
Just flat, no modifiers?
No modifiers, just your willpower plus 1/3 of your humanity, rounded down.
No hunger
2
dice either.
successes.
No hunger dice either.
2 successes.
2 successes. Okay, Sylvia, your heart sinks as you rush towards Vincent, and you hear Vincent snarling like a rabid animal. And Vincent just looks up at you, his eyes bloodshot, and he's just telling you, stay away. Don't you dare get between me and my food. What do you do, Sylvia?
When have I ever listened to you? And I'm just gonna grab and try and rip him off.
Alright, make a strength athletics check, please. And Vincent, you will also make one. And you'll have a bonus dice in your frenzy.
Hunger's still at 4?
Yep, hunger still at 4. Well, you can say
One
it's gone out of
success.
3 now.
2 successes.
2 successes. So
God.
Sylvia, you reach forwards, grab hold of his dinner jacket and try to wrench him off. But Vincent pushes you away, extends his hands, and he roars, "Argh!" knocking you off your feet and making you fall to the ground. And he pushes you off with such force that you take a single point of superficial damage, and you have to steady yourself so you don't go tumbling down the stairs.
Jesus, okay.
Oh, good.
Vincent roars, "Argh!" and then he detaches his mouth, ripping out the guy's esophagus before your very eyes.
Fuck.
The guy twitches once, twice, gasps for breath, and then is completely still, blood still
And
gushing.
that's a death gurgle.
Yeah.
I mean, Death Gurgle, the band. Have you ever heard of that?
I would like
Name.
Vincent and Sylvia to both get a stain, please.
Stain on what grounds?
Well, you killed him in your frenzy.
That's not my dignity at all. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree
not
with that.
dignified at all. You ripped the guy's throat out,
Yeah.
I was just
and
having a look at my own convictions first.
on the other
Yeah.
hand, you do get to reset your hunger to 0.
1.
Oh yeah,
So
you get to
the
reset
first.
your hunger to 1, and I did roll on the table, and that guy did have a resonance. He was getting quite worked up, trying to diffuse the growing conflict. He had within him a melancholy resonance, a tint of fear running through him in those final moments, and you gain a bonus dice to your fortitude if you have it.
I do. Okay. Could have used that earlier.
So you lean back, letting the blood roll down your throat, down the front of your face onto your dinner jacket, and you breathe a contented sigh that's drowned out in the music. Suddenly, your senses return to you, and you realize what you've done and feel incredibly embarrassed.
I kind of glance back to see how it's going.
Yeah.
I turn to the guy who is starting to come out of it and say, "Why don't you go take a break outside, man? You look like you could use it. Don't look, just go. Don't look back."
You're gonna dominate him?
Motion at Derek to do the same. Mesmerize, yeah.
Yep, Derek, are you going to? You're gonna risk it?
I'm risking it, and I do not get hungrier, thank God. Okay.
How do you go, Derek? Are you going to?
Yeah, because there's only one other guard here, isn't there?
Yeah, it's one other guard, and he's going to turn around any moment and see what's happening behind him.
I can get him if you want. I can get him if you're... Are you giving me a look like I can't do that?
No, yeah, give it a shot.
Alright, go ahead, rouse your blood, Derek.
Look at him, just go take a break, go get some air. Ignore everything in the hallway.
Alright.
Failure.
You speak your words in unison. The two guards are just about to turn around, and then they look at each other and shrug, and one says, tell you what, Mick, I could go for a smoko. Yeah, me too, says the other, and they nod at you, and they just say, sorry for the trouble, head on in, Bruger's probably expecting you, refreshments in a bunch of the apartments, don't cause any trouble. And then they squeeze past you and make their way down the stairwell.
You have no idea how true those words are. Refreshments are in many departments.
You turn around to see this guy with the knife and the leather jacket and the long hair just lying on the ground. His throat's been ripped out. There is still blood gushing out of the wound. His skin is growing rapidly paler by the second, and Vince is just leaning against the wall, licking his lips.
Firstly, I'm beginning to see why you are no longer a diplomat.
Shut.
Secondly, we need to disappear this corpse now.
I would like Sylvia and Hope to please roll for Hunger Frenzy as you see the blood splashed over the floor and walls.
And a corpse.
What roll is that, sorry?
That is willpower plus a third of your humanity, please.
I was about to say, Vincent is at this point scrambling to try and regain some, ego.
Yeah,
and
so
he sort of looks to Sylvia and he's like, it's a corpse.
Alright, well, first of all, 3 successes.
Yep,
4 successes for me.
Alright.
I hate to ask, but... I hate to ask, but now that I'm at 400, do I have to
you have to roll for it too, Derek. Go ahead.
So what is it? It's willpower.
It's willpower plus a third of your humanity.
Which is only 2, isn't it? So that's...
Actually, tell you what, is that blood going to stay down? if with refined palate?
We'll get to that in a moment.
There's more!
Is he gonna just
fucking asked about the party?
How'd you do, Derek?
2 successes.
2 successes. Okay, so Hope and Sylvia, you look at the corpse and the blood still fresh from the vein calls to you, and you go, no, this would be bad, we're not making this worse. You look at each other and you will each other to calm down, while 2 things happen beside you. The first is, I would like Vincent to make a willpower roll for me, please.
Okay. Hunger?
Well, you can add your... No, don't add your hunger to it. Just normal willpower.
Sure. 2.
Okay.
2. Vince immediately looks back at you with a queasy look on his face, and then he doubles over and starts coughing up the blood he just drank. Vincent, you manage to get a handle on yourself after a few seconds, but you still cough up a significant portion of what you drank, as it doesn't fit your normal refined palate, and you gain a point of hunger, going up to 2, and splashing even more blood onto the wooden floorboards. Meanwhile, Derek just takes a look at the corpse, and he bares his teeth, and he snarls and runs forwards, and to your horror, Derek steps over the corpse and starts to walk with purpose down the hallway towards the party.
Oh,
Well,
God.
no. I'll chase after him.
You chase after, yep. Alright. I'd like you, Raphael, go ahead, make a strength athletics check, and I would like Derek to also make a strength athletics check.
Strength, huh? Can I do something different instead?
What would you like to do?
I'd like... Oh, God. I'd like to bite my arm
Yep.
and stick my wrist in front of Derek's face.
Oh yeah, you can do that.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
So you rush up to Derek as he's walking towards the party, and Derek, you're consumed by the singular purpose. Your beast has received permission to feed, but it's not interested in a corpse. It knows the party is at the end of the hallway, and it can feel that live, warm blood pumping through all those vessels on the other side of the wall. You can almost see them, disembodied blood vessels on the other side of the plaster waiting for you. Suddenly, Hope, in the guise of Raphael, is in front of you, his wrist torn, blood leaking out of a wound. And Hope, you're going up to 5 hunger. Derek, will you try to will yourself in the depths of your frenzy to feed on Hope rather than moving onwards into the party?
Realizing it's the better alternative, yes.
Go ahead and make a willpower check for me.
Oh, only 1 this time.
Only 1.
Yep.
You have a moment of clarity. If you feed from Hope, you'll be able to stave off frenzy just long enough to avoid making things worse than they are. But your beast's roar overrides it. Through there, in the party, vessels, drink from them, drain them!
If he's ignoring that,
You push Hope's arm away and continue walking. Hope, you realize you're going to have to force him.
With 5 hunger.
do I have 5 hunger now?
You haven't drank. Well, you haven't actually given him any of your bloods. You're still at 4 hunger until he drinks from it.
3 hunger, actually.
3 hunger until he
Okay.
drinks.
Alright, I'm going to get in front of him. And I'm going to say, calm the fuck down.
Okay, go ahead, rouse, please.
Still at 3 hunger.
Wow, you are.
But however, I am going to rouse the blood to boost manipulation because I am so bad at this, and I'm still at 3 hunger.
Okay, go ahead and roll manipulation plus dominate, and Derek, I'd like you to roll intelligence plus resolve, please.
I am the anti-Vincent tonight. Okay. 5 successes.
Alright, let's see how Vincent goes.
Only 1.
Only 1. Vincent, you feel the relief wash over you as Hope's words pierce the depths of your frenzy and calm your beast just for a moment. Your faculties return to you. You realize what you were just about to do, and you stop yourself halfway down the hallway.
I lick my wound.
Shit, sorry.
You need to get away from all this blood. Go outside. Find somebody out there. There's plenty of people walking around. Feed without killing them. You think you can do that?
Yeah, should be able to.
Or he could, or if he wants, he could now go into the party and feed without killing someone, hopefully.
I leave it to your judgment. We got a corpse to clean up now. Vincent, are you good at looking for things?
Sorry?
Are you good at looking for things?
I'm okay.
Sylvia, are you good at looking for things?
Is that wits and awareness?
That's investigation, I think.
Nope.
Although she does have high, decent intelligence.
Well, I need one of you to find a place to stash this corpse. Well, the other two of us stand by the hallway and make people walk the other way. One on either end, okay?
This is more of my job.
Okay, cool. You take the party-facing side. I'll take the entry-facing side, and Sylvia, do what you can to stash the corpse and clean things up, okay?
Sure, yep.
Yeah, keep in mind, Sylvia's on the verge of hunger frenzy herself.
Oh, shit, if she gets a snack off the corpse, whatever.
Well, yeah, you can feel free to drink from the corpse if you like.
Yeah, that is...
Not here.
But yes, well, no, yeah, but...
Yeah.
Is it, like, drained of blood right now, though?
Well,
or could I actually drink?
It's drained, like, enough that, like, all the blood that would be considered alive is gone. But there'd be, like, lingering, you know, congealed blood and stuff in his blood vessels that would be fine for you.
Yeah, okay.
Vincent doesn't have the iron gullet, you do.
Hey, okay. Alright, I'll pick up the body, I guess?
Yep. Meanwhile, and I presume you're going to want to try to ensure that no more blood leaks out of it?
Yes, please, yep.
Alright, so, Derek, what are you going to do? Now that you're out of your hunger frenzy, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You gonna go outside to feed, or do you want to head into the party and try to find someone that you can feed from, hopefully without drinking them dry?
No, I'll head outside. Head downstairs, head outside.
Yep. Alright. So, I would like Sylvia to please make a intelligence investigation check.
As Sylvia is dragging out the body, I'm like, don't have too much fun with it now, as I sort of silently give her a look of actual genuine thanks.
Yeah.
This is not over, I swear to God. I only got one success though.
One success. So you hoist the body over your shoulder and start carrying it down the hallway, trying to find a place you can put it. At the end of the hallway is a doorway that leads into the apartment complex. You don't dare carry it further than that, even though you can see on the other side of the threshold it's quite dark and the music would cover up most noises. You want to make do with here. So you look around and you see only one place that might be suitable, about halfway down the hallway between the stairwell and the entrance to the apartments. A small maintenance closet. There's a sticker on the door that reads "Maintenance Personnel Only."
Alright. Open it up.
Head over to the maintenance closet, pull the door open and carefully lower the body down in between a yellow bucket and a plastic crate full of bottles of cleaning fluid. Please make an intelligence medicine check to see if you can locate any blood still left within the body.
Only one success again.
One success. So you look down at the gaping wound in the throat that Vincent has made, and you know you won't be able to find any blood there. But you know of a couple of places in the body where blood tends to pool after death. And so using your fangs, you bite into those parts on the extremities of the limbs, on the underside of the legs and buttocks, and hope your questing fangs will find some pooled, congealed blood. And they do, enough to reduce your hunger by 2.
Okay, once that's done, back up to the party and double check there aren't any stains on the way down.
Oh,
Shut the door behind you, and you see that basically the entire floor and portions of the baseboard of the wall in front of where the coterie is standing is utterly drenched in blood.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, that'll be the stain. Okay.
Find a good spot.
As Derek
Body's
presses...
safe.
Yep, you want to try to clean it up, or are you going to just leave it, or cover it with something?
We need to take care of the stain now.
Yeah.
Actually, clean it up.
So
Anyone see a janitor's closet or something?
I'll head back down the stairs to the...
Sylvia points to the closet where she hid the body.
I should know what gets blood out of carpets and whatever the heck, right? So
Yeah, you should.
I'll do my best.
Okay, I'd like you to make another intelligence medicine check, please. You can add science. You can do science instead if you have that.
Oh no, definitely medicine. 3 successes.
So, Vincent and Hope, you hear the sound of Sylvia dragging the plastic crate of cleaning fluid out of the cupboard. You hear her getting down and you hear her say, "Oh God, there's so much of it," as she starts to scrub the stain away. It's taking longer than you would hope, but she's working as fast as she can.
No, at this point, I'm fine with it. It's a dark hallway.
Yeah, it's a
Somebody
dark
barfed.
hallway,
Okay.
but Vincent's still facing towards the party. And Vincent, as you hear the sound of Hope and Sylvia scrubbing furiously behind you, you see someone step out of the flashing lights and darkness, out from the din of music, who begins walking towards you. A woman, and in her right hand you see her clutching a little plastic baggie. "Hey," she says as she approaches you. "Good party, huh? Bruja knows how to get shit thumping." And then she waits for you to step out of the way. Do you do, Vincent?
Sorry, brain was in the clouds. Yeah, right? Fucking good time, huh? How is my suit looking, by the way? Like, how is my suit looking?
There's a couple specks of blood on it here and there, but the hallway's dim enough that the woman doesn't seem to notice. She
Yeah,
just
probably
nods
dark
and she
out.
says,
Okay.
she just nods and she says, "Yeah, I know, right?" And then she just stands there waiting for you to move.
I just sort of stand there for a bit. And I'm like, "So, you having a good time tonight?"
I'd like you to please make a resolve and either performance or streetwise check.
Sure. 3. Gosh. 1 success. Not on
One
top of my game
success.
tonight.
I'm imagining an awkward cough, like, "So, come here often?"
Yeah. So, like, you're desperately trying to stall her long enough, and she keeps talking to you. You make stabs at conversation, and she just brushes them aside, and at one point she just says, "Okay, can you just get out of the fucking way, please?"
Oh shit. I'm sorry. I sort of turn around to look behind me to see if anyone's, like, coming.
You look behind her and you see Sylvia and Hope scrub away the last dreg of visible blood. There's more specks here and there, but with the hallway as dark as it is, they probably won't be noticed until the morning at least.
Right, I'm happy to let us sit there. I'm sorry, I totally didn't realize. Completely out of it tonight.
You step out of the way and she passes and she looks at you and she says, "Fucking creep," as she just makes her way down the hallway, walking past the others, paying no attention to them.
On top of my game tonight.
Meanwhile, we cross to Derek. Derek,
Yes.
you followed the advice of the rest of the coterie. You turned tail, made your way down the stairwell, and you've gone outside to the street outside the brownstone building, and the humid summer air has enveloped you. It seems to bake into your skin, causing your skin to be covered in a thick layer of sticky moisture. Your beast is still hyper-vigilant as you look around, looking for someone to feed on, but the street appears to be relatively empty. Anyone who's anyone is inside, enjoying the party. Your predator type is Osiris, I believe?
Yep.
Okay, so I would like you to please make for me... well, you're unlikely to find anyone who knows your occult methods here, so I'd like you to please make an intimidation plus fame roll to bully someone into letting you feed from them.
This time, if you missed, you'll fail it, or it'll be away from the party, so we still have a
Yeah.
shot.
Nation.
Are you trying to get into an actual party?
We haven't even got through the door yet.
Aren't you glad you brought me?
It's bad luck.
It's just no successes.
No successes. Okay. So, you prowl around the street, sticking your head into some alleyways, looking around the corner, trying to find someone, anyone to feed from, but no one. You make your way back to the brownstone apartment just in time to see the same woman that Vincent saw stepping out of the doors. She pays no attention to you. She walks past you and makes her way to one of the cars parked beside the street. There, she upturns a little plastic baggie and portions out a line of cocaine on the boot of the car and leans over to snort it up.
Did I see this?
Oh, you did not, because you're still in the
Okay.
building.
I heard him mention a little plastic baggie, and I was wondering if you got
Yeah.
that.
but
No,
Vincent
I
was,
got it.
yeah, Vincent was trying to distract her. He wasn't necessarily going for the
Yeah.
drugs, even though he probably wanted to. So you approach her at this point, Derek, just as she's about to finish the line. She looks up at you and she says, "Oh, God, what the fuck do you want?" And you just smile and you say, "You're going to let me feed from you, and you're going to be quiet." And you look into her eyes, dominating her with your will, and you press her down onto the boot of the car and sink in your fangs. I would like you to please go ahead and roll willpower plus a third of your humanity again.
Oh, we got a good roll this time. 4 successes.
4 successes. You feel that frenzy building up again, pumping through your veins, but this time you suppress it. The woman struggles and begins to cry out. your bullying doesn't work, so you dominate her to pacify her and then take what you need. You reduce your hunger to 1, and then you force yourself to disengorge. You pull your fangs out, lick the wound shut, look into her eyes, and tell her to forget. And then just throw her onto the boot of the car, and you turn, begin to make your way back into the building. The drugs that she was snorting begin to pump through your system. And by the time you make... Sorry. By the time you make your way to the doorway and begin to pull it open, you blink several times. You feel your senses changing, your perception of reality warping as the cocaine takes effect within you. And for you, that is going to, let me see, you are what you eat. I just have to look this up because I was not expecting this to actually happen. But I think we should do it anyway. So let me check the index. Because I know cocaine does something for you, Vincent, but I think it does something different because he's not an addict to it.
It should be a bonus to 1 dice pool of selection, so physical, social, and mental.
That's right, but also a penalty, I believe. TM cocaine effects. Yeah, so Derek, you may select a bonus to either your physical, mental, or social pools. But you also get a penalty die to any resolve checks.
So it's just the general, like, social, mental, physical, just that entire group, not like one of the ones
just any group, and you get a bonus die to it while the cocaine is in effect.
Okay.
Because the rolls are attribute plus skill. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as you step into the lobby, your heart sinks. Out of the corner of your eye, you see, attached to the pole of a street lamp, a CCTV camera that surveys the street. I'd like you to roll a single D10 for me.
Ah, shit.
What is that? A 4?
4. It's in that brief moment that you realise your bullying on the woman didn't work. You had to resort to your vampiric disciplines, and you breathe a sigh of relief. The CCTV camera is angled in just such a way that your assault of the woman would have happened just out of frame.
Lucky.
Oh,
Thank God.
Sylvia, Vincent, and Raphael. You see Derek coming up the stairs. He looks far more composed, though you see his eyes bloodshot darting rapidly from left to right as he takes in the flashes of light and the moving shadows emanating from the apartment down the hallway.
Dude, you look fucking jacked. You're kidding me.
I look at Sylvia. Did you do something about the wound on the corpse's throat?
Did not, but I can handle that after we return these mops and such.
Alright, let's go do that. If you can't disguise it, I can flesh graft it shut.
You
That might be
return
better than-
You return the mops and the cleaning fluid, and then you lick shut the wound that Vincent made. And, well, the blood will confuse some people, but for the moment, it looks like the guy simply passed out, maybe had a really bad reaction to some drug.
You know what? I'm going to reach in my pocket, pull out a bottle of pills, and scatter them around.
Yep. Let's hope.
Probably aspirin or something. But
Who doesn't have a bottle of random pills on them?
actually, in this guise, yes.
Makes sense.
You shrug push the door shut and look at each other. The crisis seems to be over for now.
Actual mission. Okay, the plan is still good. Now that we got the hangry out. Most of us got the hangry out. Okay, let's go.
As you make your way down the hallway, you notice the 2 security guards emerging from the stairwell once more, taking their positions at the landing, blissfully unaware of what happened mere meters away from them.
Oh shit, security guards.
Well,
Video
there's no
game
like
security
it belong
guards.
In the hallway behind the guards, the music gets much louder. As you step into the apartment complex proper, you see that most of the apartment doors are open. A few different songs are being loudly played simultaneously. Billie Eilish from the right, Dua Lipa from the left, synth pop from down the hallway. People are milling between the various apartments, and several are standing in the hallway with drinks. In one doorway, 3 people are all making out with each other, and behind one closed door, you can hear the unmistakable sound of sex. None of these apartments seem to contain who you're looking for, so you continue down the hallway to the apartment at the very end. Step over the threshold into another apartment. All of the furniture has been pushed away, leaving the apartment completely open. It's been transformed into a makeshift dance floor. Folding plastic tables have been laid across the walls on either side of the apartment, groaning under the weight of bottles of alcohol and plates of party food. Here, the party has the most people, the loudest music, and the best refreshments. Every level surface in the apartment has a drink, a plate of food, or someone sitting on it. Many of the partygoers are dancing. There are several screens, a flat screen TV, a couple of laptops, and even a tablet, all tuned to the local television station. The Channel 10 live footage showing the ball that will drop at the stroke of midnight. I'd like you all to roll Wits Awareness or Charisma Etiquette if you'd like to try to find Bella in the midst of this cacophony.
So I'm going to leave that to them, and I'm going to focus on finding somebody to save my hangry.
Yes, good idea. So I would like you, as a scene queen, to please go ahead and make a manipulation persuasion check.
My manipulation is still boosted.
Yep, and you may add a bonus dice because most of the people here have at least one form of obvious body mod. That's if you're content to go for someone who's obvious. It would be incredibly hard to find someone else in this.
How this night has been going, I'm not gonna. 4 successes.
Yep. So,
What was the text again?
So you guys are doing Wits Awareness or Charisma Etiquette to try to, take stock of the party, see if you can locate Bella, see if you can locate Emily and Slick if they've arrived.
3 successes.
3 successes. Sylvia, Derek.
2 successes.
2 successes. But as Sylvia and Derek and Vincent begin to cross the dance floor and just swallowed up by the crowd of partygoers, Hope, you begin to prowl the apartment looking for someone to feed from. You see a woman, perhaps no older than 22, 23, with bright blue hair, sitting on her own, scrolling through her phone as she pours a drink with her other hand. Settle up beside her and start to drum up conversation. Make a show of pouring yourself a drink as the topic turns to the various tattoos taking up most of her right arm.
I've got a good one on my back.
You show her your
That's
own
right.
tattoo, your wings, and
Part of it.
she purrs appreciatively as she shows you her pride and joy right there on her bicep, a tattoo of a auburn-haired woman in a red biker's vest, long blue jeans, aiming a handgun towards you as a skinless creature wraps its tongue around her. She nods and she says, "That's my Claire Redfield."
Nice.
Oh, Resident Evil? Classic. Hey, of course the wings got some other stuff under them, but I can't exactly show you all of it here. Sorry.
You lead her away from the dance floor, out into the hallway, into one of the adjoining apartments, and into one of the bedrooms. "Let's see him," she says, as she pulls the door shut behind her and begins to undo her bra.
Alright,
You're at
So,
Hunger
let-
3, I believe?
I am.
And so,
And I'll go ahead. And I'll
Yep.
go. Normally I'd entertain her for a bit, but this time I'll just pull her close, nuzzle her neck, and.
take what you need, look into her eyes, and bark the command, "Forget." And then, a few minutes later, you're stepping back into the party, wiping the blood off your lip, looking around for the others. So, Derek, Sylvia, and Vincent, you merge into the crowd, jostle between people, dancing around you, and try to take stock of the party itself. Derek, you feel a sense of relief as you see Slick and Emily over on the very edge of the dance floor. Slick's looking around, doing his best impression of looking like a bodyguard as he scans the room for threats, while Emily sits beside him, kneeling over a box of pizza that lies open on a fold-out table. At the very back of the apartment, you see Bella. She looks much like she does in the picture. A dark-skinned Mediterranean woman with dark makeup, black lipstick, and a black party dress covered in lace cobwebs. She has a glass of champagne in her hand as she sits on the kitchen counter and talks loudly with a few other similarly monochromatic friends. What do the three of you do?
Look, it sounds like she's got a bit of a concern for me, and I don't really want to deal with anything that just what just happened. So I need some fucking blow.
Yep, so you're gonna go hunting?
Yeah, don't need much. Just
Alright.
need my hit.
And you're a siren, I believe?
I am indeed.
So I'd like you to please go ahead and make a charisma plus subterfuge check. While Sylvia and Derek, what would you like to do? You want to just mingle for a bit? Do you want to approach the Thin Bloods? Do you want to approach Bella?
All successes.
Lovely. I'll get to you in a moment.
Okay.
Do you want to speak to her, or I mean,
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go straight for Bella, yeah.
Oh, and Sylvia, as you look around, you notice Dorian on the dance floor. He's doing his best impression to try to blend in, but he doesn't quite manage the image, and he stands out like a sore thumb. Everyone else is dancing whatever's hip, going along to the music, and he's doing the monster mash.
holy fuck. Okay. Yeah, you speak.
Yeah.
I need to damage control this.
Derek, as you approach Bella, you step out of the crowd. Emily and Slick catch sight of you. Slick smiles, raises a hand in greeting, and then watches as you approach Bella. watching carefully. He's clearly been watching for threats, keeping an eye on her this whole night so far. As you approach, her eyes go wide and she stiffens. "Who invited you?" she yells over the noise of the party.
Emily invited me.
She looks over at Emily and Slick standing meters away. Slick raises a hand and calls, Yeah, he's that friend we told you about. She nods, but doesn't look any more at ease. She looks up at you, and she says, "Right, so you're the one who's gonna help with, these messages?" She says with uncertainty.
If they turn out to be true, yes.
She nods. She turns to the friends gathered around her, makes a motion for them to leave her, and as they disperse, she pats the kitchen counter next to her and says, "Come and sit down. We'll have a talk."
Yeah, I'll take a seat next to her.
You sit down, trying to make yourself comfortable on the hard plastic counter. She looks you up and down. She frowns and she says, well, I don't know how to put this, but you look pale, little sickly like.
Yeah, you could say I don't see the sun very much.
She nods, understanding the meaning. She says, "And you're not with the Camarilla, are you?"
Despite what others may think, no, not officially.
I'd like you to please make a charisma persuasion check.
Okay, so only 2, but they were both critical, so that makes it 4, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. She nods. Right. She breathes a sigh of relief. All I know is Emily and Slick said they were getting, a full blood involved, and she says, "I've been getting these." She holds up her phone, and you scroll through the messages. They're all variations of the same thing. "We know what you are, bloodsucker. You're a murderer. We're going to expose you for what you are." She shrugs. She says, "Look, at first I didn't think anything of it. It's just part of being a woman on the internet, eh? But it was Emily and Slick. They mentioned something about an inquisition, and, it was their idea to reach out."
I'm assuming from what I understand, you're fairly careful about when you try to get a drink.
She nods. She says, "Look, all of the thin bloods, me, Emily, Slick, there's other thin bloods in the community. Well, we learned well. We won't be accepted among you guys, so we have to use the mortals as our cover. And we've learned to be good at it. We have to be." It's at this point that you see Hope, no longer Raphael, but Hope, stepping out of the crowd and walking towards you. Bella looks in Hope's direction, her eyes wide, and she says, "And she's a friend of yours, right?"
Yeah. Friend of mine, she's part of our group.
She gestures for Hope to come and join you.
I'll come on over, adjusting my backpack.
She holds out a hand. "Bella, or Bruger, you might know me as."
Let's go with Bella. Hope, pleased to meet you. Rouge is one of those words you gotta be careful with, you know?
She looks at you, she says, I don't know, is it? It's been my handle for years, like, before I was embraced even.
Yeah, the funny thing is that's the name of one of the clans.
Plans? She says.
It's one of those words you gotta be careful with sometimes.
Oh, right, she says. You mean like the type of... She leans in. Vampire that you are, right?
I'm going to insider at this point.
Go ahead, make an intelligence insight check.
She might be acting here. 3 successes.
3 successes. She's not acting. She seems to be genuinely concerned. The vampire, either she knows very little about the world of kindred, or she's been deliberately kept away from it, which is odd considering where she happens to live, right on the edge of Camarilla territory.
Yeah, there's a lot of info that we probably shouldn't go into right here, but
At this point, just out of the corner of your eye, you see Vincent stepping back into the apartment, wiping his lip. There's a tiny bit of powder underneath his nose. Vincent, you've reset your hunger to 1, and you are now under the effects of cocaine.
Oh, that's better.
As Vincent steps into the room, a man wearing an almost identical dinner jacket and business suit just winks at Vincent. You notice his hair is disheveled and out of place as he nods, moves away from Vincent and joins the partygoers on the dance floor once again.
Nice.
Sylvia, as you approach Dorian, he sees you coming and he smiles, beaming wildly, immediately drops the Monster Mash act, makes his way over to you and says, thank God, I can act like a normal person again.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but you weren't exactly doing that before either. Look, why don't you just stand in a corner or something? We're here now. Everything's pretty much all figured out, so as a matter of fact, you can probably go if you want.
He frowns. He says, been trouble?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. How do you know this person, Bella, anyway?
He shrugs. He's like, look, like you told me, been digging in, finding contacts I can, trying to dig up what I can about Patrick, and, well, made a couple of friends in the Anarchs, in the Thin Blood community. Turns out masterless ghouls and Thin Bloods have a lot in common, and, well, one thing led to another, and he looks around, he says, well, I see the rest of your coterie are here, so I'll leave it in your capable hands, but first, he leans in, he says, look, I was going to tell you, that night after Elysium, said I had something to tell you afterwards, was going to meet you at your apartment, but then I thought Patrick had his claws well and truly into you, and I didn't want to... He shrugs, he leans in even further, and he says, look, been getting intel like you said, and, well, I got in contact with someone up in Brisbane. A former ghoul of our mutual master, Father Patrick. Former ghoul of his that escaped the purge. And, well, he told me some stuff that it might corroborate what Spider said to you. Patrick fled the city night before the SI operation began, almost as if he knew it was going to happen. One more thing though, raises his hand, he looks around, confident that no one can hear him in the din of the music and the festivities, leans in even further and he says, my contact mentioned that one of Patrick's coterie mates was convinced he was in contact with someone from another city. He suspected it was someone from Squizzy's court due to the circumstantial evidence. And well, he shrugs. I guess that was true, since here's where he showed up.
Right. And the school is still up in Brisbane right now, or are they around here?
He nods. Up in Brisbane, and sworn to secrecy, I might add. Look, I know you say that the blood bond is broken, but the ghoul doesn't want to take any chances. If you know who he is, Patrick will know who he is. His life will be forfeit, understand?
Right, I understand.
He looks around, he says...
Thank you for that.
Looks around, he says, look, this isn't my scene. I'm gonna head out. But hopefully you can figure out what's going on here. And as he turns away, he looks over his shoulder, he says, I wasn't that bad at dancing, was I?
Look, I think you should just stick to preaching, if I'm honest.
He shrugs. He says, hey, Monster Mash was the in thing back before I got my first hit of vamp blood. And then he disappears into the crowd, leaving you to rejoin the others. You step up just as Bella is looking at Hope. As she sees you approach, she holds out a hand and she says, oh, you must be Sylvia. Dorian said you'd be coming by. Bella. Or Bruja. She holds out her hand.
Lovely to meet you. How'd you guys meet anyway? You and Dorian, I mean.
She says, well, you know, there's a lot of overlap. Thin bloods and ghouls are both at the bottom of the totem pole, or at least that's what I'm told. Tend to run in the same circles, and Dorian just happened to be there. Said he was looking for ghouls in particular that were trying to get away from their masters, and she shrugs. She says, well, look at me going on as if I know what I'm talking about. You guys are, well, aside from my sire, you guys are the first kindred I've met.
We should so you definitely need to be filled in on a few things, but again, right now the more important thing is solving your problem. This could be a fishing expedition. They might have thought that Bruja was meant to be a kindred reference, and just are trying to rattle you into doing something vamp-related.
Right, she says, because Bruja, or Bruja, she looks in your direction, is a clan, and Gangrel would be another one, right?
Yeah. Somebody taught you that one? Okay.
She nods. She says, my sire, he's a Gangrel.
Oh. Okay. Cool. I don't know many Gangrel, to tell the truth, but I've heard they do stuff.
She says, so...
Pretty cool.
So you don't think they're after me? Or... She cuts herself off. She says, wait. You think the person sending these texts actually does know what's going on and that they actually are a threat?
This is just supposition. So, can you show us the texts? They seem to be the main evidence.
She holds out her phone, shows you the texts just like she did for Derek. There isn't anything... Actually, I'd like each of you to make an intelligence investigation check, please.
Can I substitute technology?
You can substitute technology if you have it.
And I do.
And yeah, because they're text messages, aren't they? They aren't like through like a app or anything.
4 dice, 4 successes. Good lord.
Yeah.
I'd like to be sort of hovering at a distance where I can kind of...
You're like sort of mingling where you can hear what's being said.
Considering waltzing over, but I won't do it quite yet.
And when you hear mention of the word Gangrel, your ears do perk up.
It's a little around here.
As you recall that your sire seems to be having problems with a Gangrel.
Indeed, I do.
Okay, so that's 4 successes for Hope. So Hope, you scroll through the messages. The first thing you notice is that there's nothing in them that seems specifically to refer to kindred. Phrases used include bloodsucker, murderer, blood drinker, but nothing like kindred or even vampire. There's nothing to suggest the person sending them knows that Bella is indeed a vampire. Seems to be their attempt at incendiary language, things that they think might get a response. The second thing you notice is that the majority of the texts seem to have been sent from an anonymous texting service. None of them come from the same number. They all come from a pool of 10, maybe more different numbers that are just random jumbles of numerals together, and you quickly determine it's some sort of third-party texting service.
Yeah, somebody paid some bots to basically mean text you. This doesn't sound like the Inquisition. They would have used something in-house.
Well, what do you think it is, she says. Why would they be trying to get a rise out of me?
The timestamps, do they fall within a various pattern?
You realise that all of the texts seem to have been sent within the last 48 hours.
But during both day and night, yeah.
Most of them arrive during night. Some have appeared during the day, maybe 2 or 3, but the majority have arrived during the night hours.
And I'll pass that along. Not sure, but there's a possibility.
Wait, she says, her eyes going wide. Most of them came in at night and, well, look, I tend to stream during the day, so, at first I thought maybe it was someone saw me streaming and, just some creepy stalker or something, but no, they would be sending it while I've been streaming. This writes that out. Oh, she clams up and she says, if they're coming at night, then that means...
It could be other kindred trying to make a move against you.
She looks at the 3 of you assembled and she says, how do I know I can trust you? How do I know you're not with the Camarilla? She says, whispering.
I work with Jackie and Sage.
I
should tell you all you need to know right there.
I'd like you to make a charisma persuasion roll. You may add an extra dice for name-dropping Sage.
And Anarch status?
And Anarch status for another extra dice.
Alright. She's not in the body mode culture, is she?
She's not.
Alright. I'll stop trying to milk it. 4 successes.
Jackie? Sage? Yeah. My sires mentioned those names, said that if I ever needed friends, they would help, and, well, I guess if your friends are theirs, then I can trust you. Alright.
Sage is kind of like my adopted sire, so... If
Bella,
I do you wrong, she'll give me an earful.
Bella shrugs and she says, fine. Well, look, if I can help you get to the bottom of this, if this is some sort of threat against me or maybe my sire, I'll help you how I can, but... Well, what do you want to know?
Who's your sire?
Eyes go wide and she thinks for a moment. She says, look, well, I suppose I can trust you. Look, his name is Duke. He's a gangrel. I would like all of you present to please make an intelligence plus politics roll, and you may add your anarch status to this.
Myself included?
Yourself included.
Intelligence politics. Not my anarch status.
4 dice, even with the status. 3 success. The dice roller. I don't know what I did to it.
3 successes.
3 successes. Yeah. Derek, Sylvia.
Bestial failure.
Bestial failure. Okay. Well, I'm not going to apply that for just knowing for just determining if you know someone's name. That would be. Thank you. That would be very.
Bestial failure on passive rolls.
Derek.
2.
2? Okay, so everyone except Sylvia, and this would make sense because Sylvia's sire would have kept her away from Anarchs, would have kept her in the dark. But Vincent would know because he would have heard, the guy's name mentioned in petty gossiping and people making moves against him. But you've all heard of Duke. Duke is a wannabe warlord, a anarch rabble-rouser. He's the leader of a local gang of toughs who he puts to good use, essentially causing trouble for the Camarilla, committing petty crimes and small masquerade breaches, particularly to keep Conrad Schreck and his police force busy to get under their skin. Baron Sue won't acknowledge his efforts from what you've heard, but she doesn't explicitly condemn them, as he does put a small amount of pressure on the Cam.
Duke's a maybe, but somebody learned the connection. They could be trying to get at him through you. Have you done anything recently that would draw an ire from any kindred?
She looks at you and she shakes her head. She says, I've only been a kindred for a month. I've never met any other kindred save for you and my sire, and I've just been living my life as normal.
Alright.
My sire said he had enemies, said that the ones who ashed his sire might try to make a move, but...
Okay. Then it sounds like they're trying to spook you into making a mistake or getting him to overreact. That's what it sounds like to me. But that's a theory.
So, what do you want to do? She says. And we are wrapping up soon, by the way. Just want to get this scene done.
I'm thinking, for now, continue on with business as normal. We can rule out the Inquisition. They would have done things completely differently if this was them.
Yeah, this is too out in the open for them.
So it sounds like we need to go investigate a bit. Maybe talk to Duke. Can you arrange a meeting?
She thinks for a moment, and then she shrugs and she says, yeah, look, I don't know how to get in contact with him. He gets in contact with me, but he told me if I ever needed him, I should go here. And she writes down an address on a scrap of paper and hands it to you. It's on the other side of the city, in Anarch territory.
Alright. Okay. Can anyone else think of anything we should do here? Any questions you want to ask her?
She says, he sends me text messages. I can send a text and say that you're looking for him if you like, and that you're friends, but it'll be up to you to actually go there and meet with him.
I'm down.
She shrugs and she says, okay, I'll let him know you're coming, but be careful. He's been on edge lately, and, well, I don't know the specifics. He tries to keep me away from all this. Says that I'm safest the less I know about any kindred matters. But there's this guy who he thinks is after him. Someone who killed his sire years ago, and who he thinks is finally going to make a move against him.
Did he give this guy a name?
She nods. Yeah. Something started with C. And then as she says the name, Sylvia, you find yourself saying it at the same time. Cassius!
God damn it. Alright.
Friend of yours?
Oh well. Patrick's not the guy's only name.
Oh.
Hearing this, Bella's face changes instantly into a mask of terror. She looks at Sylvia and she says, You know who he is?
I guess you could say that, yeah.
We all do. He's a piece of work.
Oh my god, She raises a hand to her mouth. She looks around and she says,
You are safe from him. I put my hand on her shoulder. Trust me, he's not going to show up here.
I'll be safe at the party? No one's going to try anything here tonight?
I look around at all the technology surrounding everything, the flashing lights. He's not going to come himself.
And if he does, says Slick, stepping up with Emily behind him, we'll be here to take care of you. He looks at Derek. Right, boss?
Let me give you some special instructions as to fighting the guy. And I lead him a bit away from Bella. Listen, if the technology starts going crazy, grab her and run.
He nods. La Sombra like Sylvia, right?
Only like 3 or 4 times, yeah.
Emily shrugs. Been learning a bit about kindred from the other Thin Bloods. If we see technology start going haywire, any of those light bulbs bursts, we'll get her out of here. Don't you worry.
I give them both a squeeze. Good work.
Emily looks over at Derek. So, boss, we staking this place out tonight, or do you have other orders for us?
No, I think you two should be here. And then I think just give us a moment and to talk things out.
Yep.
And I'll try and coterie huddle.
They nod.
Yeah, coterie huddle.
Yeah.
They nod.
Not really fun.
Smiling once more at Bella as she looks over at you and she says, Right. If you think I'm going to be safe, then my sire, he's the one who's really in danger, right?
That's what it looks like. Can you send my burner a copy of those texts? Thank you.
She nods silently. She says, You'll do your best to save him, right? And none of this will get back to the Camarilla?
If it does, it'll be against Cassius. Because I'll tell you this is not an authorized move if he goes after Duke.
I'd ask you, Hope, to please make a charisma persuasion check, and you may add your anarch status as an extra dot.
Right. 2 successes.
Right, she says. I'll let Duke know that you're friends. And, well, he'll be expecting you. She smiles as her phone vibrates. He already knows you're on the way.
Alright. Guess we better get going.
She smiles once more and she says, It was nice to meet you all, circumstances considered. Maybe once all this is sorted out, maybe we can, She looks at Slick and Emily and says, I hear you throw a mean pizza party.
Well, yeah, mean is definitely a good descriptor. But it works out. Actually, if you ever want to talk and get more of an education, give me a ring sometime through them, and yeah, we can hang.
She nods, and then she holds her hand up in the air and shouts over the din of the music, Hey! Get that new album on! Let's get it cranking! Her friends begin to congregate around her once again. The music picks up, and the party continues as if nothing happened. Bella looks as if she's partying her night as normal, as if she didn't just fear for her very existence. You all huddle in the hallway outside of the apartment to discuss your next move.
Alright, guys. I think we're going to go see Duke unless somebody has something else.
My only concern is, do we all go to Duke, or do one or two of us maybe want to stay here just in case? So I know, obviously, FP's not going to show up himself, but that... We've seen his underhanded tactics before. That doesn't mean he won't send someone. If she is the target.
That is true. That is true.
And yeah, as much as I have faith in the other two's abilities, it's... I don't want to come back and find, a bunch of wayward flesh monsters in place of all of guests.
That is a point. I hate to say it, but if this is a concern, you'd probably be the best candidate. If Sylvia gets reported here, that'll come back to Patrick. And Vincent, man, this is not your scene.
I was so hoping to stay at the shitty party.
Sylvia.
Besides Vincent, we got a corpse to dispose of.
Yeah.
I pull up on my back up a tarp, so I hope your trunk's got space.
It always does.
Yep.
Somehow.
Sylvia.
Go see Duke and make a stop along the river on the way.
Yep. And so anyone going to go with Vincent? And the rest of you going to stay here?
I don't know.
I mean, you do have the Thin Bloods here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the three of you are connected, so that's probably the best option, I'm thinking.
So Derek stays behind, everyone else heads up to visit Duke?
I'm thinking, yeah.
Very well. And Sylvia...
Sorry,
Derek? Yep.
And we'll stay in contact.
Just in case. So as you nod, Derek turns to make his way back into the raging party. Sylvia, anything to say?
Let's just get things done.
Right.
Tell the others you're ready to get things done. But as you follow them down the hallway towards the stairwell, in your mind's eye, you see your sire's face, smiling, laughing. You will always be mine, my dear. And by the time the ball drops at midnight, it shall be so. We conclude this session. That was Lose My Number, part 1 of Auld Sanguine. You each gain 3 experience points.
Okay.
And next session, we will begin to track down Duke and very possibly make your very first moves towards Cassius. Father Patrick.
Really ought to spend those experience.
Speaking of that, I am 5 points away from
what you
the
need.
biggest thing I'm gonna buy.
You're going to get a lot in this story, because this is the big end of Sylvia's arc blowout, so...
Oh. I just saw the picture on the... Oh, good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Also, Hope is going to pass along a clue she got from trading info with Spider.
Yep. Ah, lovely.
Ignore the Cassius bit, I copied that in. But basically, we have the name of a possible Inquisition contact who got...
Yep. As you make your way down the stairwell, out once again into the humid summer night, Hope produces from within her pocket a piece of paper. A piece of paper that she claims is a gift from Spider. Looks like a photocopy of a typed letter. The text is blurry in places and incredibly sharp in others. Whoever made the copy must have done so in a hurry. It reads, "I would advise leaving the city tonight. Thanks to my old contacts, have it on good authority. Operation Helsing will begin at 0600 hours. You won't have time to arrange transport for your child or retainers. I've made sure Jetstar Flight 22 to Melbourne is safe, and I'll have an agent waiting for you. His name is Michael Gardner. He's being eyeballed for Task Force Harker, but doesn't know about our kind. Not yet. He'll get you to the safe house, and from there, you know what to do. Remember, your role is infiltration. I'm in contact with others of your sect who will assist behind the scenes. A good note to leave it on until next session.
As we
Alright.
throw the body in Vince's truck.
As
Cars.
you throw the
Yay.
body in Vincent's trunk and slam
Making
it down.
sure we're clear of any CCTV cameras.
Yep,
as
making sure that the CCTV camera is pointing the other way. As you lower the body into the trunk, slam it shut, and the thump echoes throughout the
Also
deserted
appreciated.
street, quickly drowned out by the bass thumping from the building beside you. The
That's why I
party,
got carried.
you have the feeling, has just begun. That was Lose My Number, episode 11 of Vampire War for the Second City, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition actual play podcast presented by DM Fiat. With me, Dale, as storyteller, Lost Demiurge as Hope, H. Quen as Sylvia, Paradox Mimic as Derek, and Ash as Vincent Merriweather. Music was created by Kevin MacLeod and is used with permission. Vampire the Masquerade and the World of Darkness are the registered trademarks and property of White Wolf Entertainment and Paradox Game Studios.